Chapter 1122. This was also the reason why countless students were trying their best to win in this interclass competition. Everyone wanted to go to the next level. To stand at the peak. It was as if, with great difficulty, he had broken through from the mystic profound realm to become a high-level earth profound realm profound practitioner. They would immediately want to advance and set their goal on the sky mystic realm and above. To become a sky mystic realm expert. And after reaching the sky mystic realm expert, they would want to advance to a higher mystic rank. Everyone was like this. Forever greedy. The students of high profound class 1 and intermediate profound class 2 were locked in this battle. No one was willing to admit defeat. Once intermediate class 2 won, they could possibly replace high profound class 1. Once high profound class 1 lost, they could be demoted to intermediate class. Both sides had their own things that they insisted on, and the battle was extremely exciting. The onlookers were already boiling with excitement. Many forces had already started discussing the 20 students on the stage, each of their profound rank, strength, identity, and so on. They had the idea of roping in their own forces. Which class do you think will win? Evenly matched, I really can't tell. The Heavenly Academy is indeed the Heavenly Academy. These children are only 17 or 18 years old, but their fighting strength is so strong. Someone lamented and attracted countless people to echo. The battle between the high class was a real fist and foot fight, competing on the strength of both sides. Look, the most eye-catching student, that beautiful little girl from intermediate class 2. Someone pointed to the stage, the girl who was still releasing profound chi and accurately landed on the opponent. That female student was indeed the most eye-catching existence on the stage. This battle had been going on for at least the time it took to burn a stick of incense. Both sides were evenly matched and both had injuries on their bodies. But that female student seemed to have never participated in it. Her uniform was neat, her hair was neat, and there was no trace of disheveled mess on her body. But everyone could see it clearly. That female student was the real main force of intermediate class 2. She had been restraining high profound class 1 and had no room to fight back. The other low profound class 2 students took the opportunity to attack high profound class 1. That is Shengguan family's fifth miss. Shengguan. The Shengguan family. Isn't that young lady? One of the 4 great profounder clans, the Shengguan clan. Many forces and academies representatives naturally had some understanding of the Shengguan clan. The fifth miss of the Shengguan family, Shengguan Liuli's good name, was naturally clear about it. Unruly, willful, and brainless. His talent was not bad, but he had been spoiled since he was young, and his brain had been spoiled. She relied on her status as the fifth miss of the Shengguan family to form cliques and bully the children who disobeyed her. She also relied on her talent to stir up trouble. The children of many forces present had suffered at Shengguan Liuli's hands. Looking at Shengguan Liuli, who was the main force and had not let herself suffer any injuries, everyone fell silent. As expected of the miss of the Shengguan family. She has already stepped into the profound earth realm at such a young age. Too powerful. The 4 great profounder clans really do deserve their reputations. She's too powerful. Even I wouldn't be able to gain the upper hand if I were to fight Shengguan Wujia. Chapter 1123. Especially when he heard the onlookers praising the Shengguan family. Housekeeper Shengguan's face was smiling like a chrysanthemum. Shengguan Luli naturally heard the crowd's praises. She curled her lips complacently as the profound yin qi in her eyes flowed wantonly. The attacks in her hands were getting sharper and sharper. That's right, it was like this. Everyone bowed down to her strength. Everyone looked up to her like she was a fairy. She was the real genius. She was the existence that could shake countless of people. Dong, a gong was struck. The second match, Intermediate Profound Class 2, wins. The voice in the clouds announced the result word by word with impassioned power. Shock. Full of shock. Astonishment. Full of astonishment. After the result was out, the high profound Class 1 students were completely exhausted and collapsed on the stage. They had tried their best in this battle. But the opponent was too strong. The students of Intermediate Profound Class 2 cheered and hugged Shengguan Luli excitedly. The other students of Intermediate Profound Class 2 rushed to the stage from the waiting area. They swarmed around Shengguan Liuli and excitedly praised her performance today. All kinds of bootlicking made Shengguan Luli grin from ear to ear. Her vanity was bursting. But Lu Xiaoyu, who was waiting in the waiting area, was clutching her clothes tightly. There wasn't the slightest joy of Intermediate Profound Class 2's victory on her face. On the contrary, it was filled with worry. There was another person standing beside Lu Xiaoyu. His facial features were regular and full of heroic spirit. The green and white uniform made his figure look slender. He looked at Lu Xiaoyu with a smile that didn't look like a smile, worried about Yiqing Luo. Lu Xiaoyu was still worried when she heard a voice beside her. She screamed in fright and took a few steps back. She heaved a sigh of relief when she saw the face of the person beside her. She stared at him in annoyance. Class monitor Xia, why do you always like to scare me? This person was the class monitor of Intermediate Profound Class 2, Xia Yan. He was also Yi Fengru's good friend. He was also the one who sent the challenge invitation to Yiqing Luo, inviting the devil class to participate in the interclass competition. As the class monitor of Intermediate Profound Class 2, I naturally have to show some concern when I see that my own classmate did not reveal any expression of happiness just because the class won. Xia Yan took a few steps closer to Lu Xiaoyu. Student Lu, are you worried about Student Yi, or worried that Intermediate Profound Class 2 and Devil class will go against each other? Lu Xiaoyu opened her mouth but didn't know what to say. Perhaps, both of them were involved. Worried about Yiqing Luo's safety. Worried about the battle between Intermediate Profound Class 2 and Devil class, what should she do? Do you believe her? Xia Yan saw that she did not speak, and did not force her to answer, but asked another question. Lu Xiaoyu was stunned and looked at Xia Yan blankly. After a long while, he slowly nodded. I do. Yiqing Luo was the first friend she made since she came to the Heavenly Academy. It was Yiqing Luo who had been encouraging her and changing her. She naturally believed in Yiqing Luo. No matter what it was, she believed it. Then believe in her. She will bring her brother back safely. Xia Yan's gaze gradually drifted forward, his voice very soft. Lu Xiaoyu did not know why, but because of Xia Yan's words, her heart firmly sank to the bottom of her heart. Inexplicably, there was a kind of peace of mind, a feeling of unconditional trust in Xia Yan. Because Xia Yan was her class monitor. The students of Intermediate Profound Class 2 were long used to relying on Xia Yan. As for the battle between Intermediate Profound Class 2 and Devil class, Xia Yan paused for a moment. Lu Xiaoyu's eyes lit up, as she looked hopefully at Xia Yan. Chapter 11:24. Xia Yan gazed at the girl in front of him. That pair of clear and beautiful eyes sparkled like luminous pearls, resplendent luster. The curvature of his lips couldn't help but deepen. It was almost subconsciously. He raised his hand and caressed Lu Xiaoyu's head as he gently rubbed it. Student Lu, the interclass competition emphasizes on the interclass competition. Even if I don't arrange for you to go up for today's 10-people team battle, tomorrow's semi-finals, or finals, you will eventually face each other. Lu Xiaoyu froze. The warmth of the man's warm palm on her head seemed to pass through her hair and touch her skin. Class monitor he. What was he doing? In front of so many people, he actually rubbed her head. If you really treat Student Yi as a friend, then go all out in the battle against Devil Class. This is the most basic respect. Xia Yan saw her looking at him in a daze as he comforted her once again. At this moment, Lu Xiaoyu's mind was filled with whatever interclass competition and whatever Devil Class battle. She blinked her thick and curly eyelashes. She was at a loss. Her watery eyes looked like a startled animal. Xia Yan then realized that his actions had already crossed the line. He immediately retracted his hand. The expression on his face had a sliver of awkwardness. I'm sorry. Xia Yan clenched his palm tightly. The touch of her hair was so soft as if there was something coquettish past his heart. It was soft and soft. He didn't want to let go. Lu Xiaoyu blushed to her ears as she lowered her eyelids and didn't respond. Xia Yan coughed dryly. Anyway, just treat the competition normally. Saying that, he had already walked towards Shengguan Lu Li's direction. Leaving Lu Xiaoyu alone at the waiting area, blushing to her ears, not moving a single step for a long time. On the arena, Intermediate Profound Class 2's faces were filled with joy. Devil Class's area. Devil Class students were incomparably calm. For others, Intermediate Profound Class 2 winning against High Profound Class 1 was indeed something unexpected. But Devil Class had long known about it. Shengguan Lu Li had already been controlled by the dark forces. The dark forces would definitely help Shengguan Lu Li to obtain victory in this interclass competition. Because of the blood oath that Shengguan Liuli and Yiqing Luo had set. Looks like there's a high possibility that we will have to cross hands with Intermediate Profound Class 2. Qiao Jin narrowed his eyes as he whispered into Long Yunzhan's ears. That's for sure, Long Yunzhan said indifferently. His voice was cold and his eyes were calm. In the first round, their Devil Class won. In the second round, Intermediate Profound Class 2 won. Third round, High Profound Class 2 against Intermediate Class 1. There was no suspense in the third round. High Profound Class 2 will definitely win. In that case, next would be Devil Class, Intermediate Profound Class 2, High Profound Class 2 and Low Profound Class 1. The four classes would draw lots and face each other in pairs. According to the Dark Organization's plan. Entering the preliminary round, no matter what, they had to squeeze the Devil Class out. Devil Class was also bound to go up against Intermediate Profound Class 2. Qing Luo isn't back yet, could there be an accident? Yan Xiaoyi looked around restlessly. Little Kitty has already told Overlord brother-in-law that Big Sister has gone to look for Brother Yu. There won't be any accidents. Kitty Lee scratched the floor with her little claws. Although she said that, but from her actions, it was obvious that she was worried. Overlord has rushed over. Qiao Jin frowned in puzzlement as he looked towards Senior Mo who was at the main elder's side, then. Chapter 11:25. Right now, it's more important for us to regulate our emotions and rest well. Long Yunzhan paused, closed his eyes, and said indifferently, the third match won't take too long. The few of them collected their thoughts and tried their best to adjust their emotions. Yiqing Luo had said to wait for her return. She would definitely come back safely. What they needed to do was to guard the Devil Class well before Yiqing Luo returned. In a situation where no one was aware, he had obtained victory. Until Yiqing Luo's return. It was just as Long Yunzhan had said. The battle between High Profound Class 2 and Intermediate Class 1 did not last more than half an incense stick of time. The Intermediate Profound Class 1 was beaten to the point of retreating step by step. They were really unable to resist and raised the white flag to surrender. Just as Long Yunzhan expected. Devil Class, Intermediate Profound Class 2 and High Profound Class 2 entered the next round. In addition to the Low Profound Class 1, who will not participate in the first round of the competition. They will draw lots to determine the winner. Originally, Low Profound Class 1 was just holding on to the idea that at least they would not be the first class to be eliminated, and muddle along. Anyway, those who could enter the second round were either High Profound Class 1 or High Profound Class 2. Any random student could send 10 of their Low Profound Class 1 students flying. But when he saw the Devil class entering the second round, Low Profound Class 1 suddenly felt hope. The goddess of fortune had descended upon them. If they were to draw the Devil class, their Low Profound Class 1 would be able to enter the third round of the preliminary round, even if he lost. For Low Profound Class 1, this was also the highest honor. The class leaders of the 4 classes stood on the stage and began to draw the wooden sticks in Cloud's hand. The Low Profound Class 1 class monitor clenched the wooden stick in his hand, took a deep breath, and looked down. The end of the wooden stick was red. Instinctively, he looked at the wooden stick of the High Profound Class 2 class monitor. Blue. The Low Profound Class 1 monitor breathed a sigh of relief. He then looked at the wooden stick in the hands of the Class 2 class monitor. Blue. Blue, blue. Then, the class monitor of Low Profound Class 1 could not suppress the ecstasy in his heart. He clenched the wooden skewer that had a red end and looked at Long Yun-Jan ecstatically. Indeed, the wooden stick in Long Yun-Jan's hand was red. High Profound Class 2 versus Intermediate Class 2. Low Profound Class 1 versus Devil Class. This was the team for the second round. Next, you will have an hour to discuss your tactics, or to replace the students who will participate in the match. As usual, each class will send out 10 students to fight. Cloudy Cloud announced and dispersed the class leaders on the stage. In this 1 hour, the 4 classes participating in the second round began to discuss countermeasures or select candidates. And the Heavenly Academy took the opportunity to show off the Academy's elegance. For example, the Heavenly Academy's Wu Fuzi who went on stage to perform martial arts. For example, the instructor would instruct the freshmen on a mock performance. There was also a speech by the dean and so on. Finally, after an hour, the gong for the second match rang. The competition began. The first match, Low Profound Class 1 versus Devil Class. The Low Profound Class 1 directly chose the 10 most talented students who were about to be promoted to the intermediate class. As for the Devil Class, it was still the same recipe, the same taste. Don't tell me these 10 students are the strongest in the Devil Class. It can't be. The performance in the first round. If it's the strongest, then Devil Class is too scary. Why isn't the class monitor of the Devil Class going up? Don't tell me that the class monitor is just an empty shell. The first reaction of anyone who saw Long Yun-Jan was, this young man was really handsome. This young man was really cold. Chapter 11:26. No, that's not right. If the class monitor of Devil Class was really an expert, he wouldn't have been assigned to Devil Class. Based on the current situation, if Devil Class sent out the best student with the highest profound rank to compete, there was still a 20% chance of defeating Low Profound Class 1. After all, if Devil Class students couldn't win, they could still run. Even if Low Profound Class 1 already knew Devil Class students' tricks. But if they couldn't outrun Devil Class, wouldn't they still fall into their trap? Therefore, the crowd was certain. The 10 students sent out by Devil Class were the strongest students in Devil Class. Thinking back to the scene of Devil Class students fighting against Low Profound Class 2. If this was the strongest student, Devil Class was really worthy of being called a trash class. Yun Duan announced the start of the competition. 2 classes, 10 students from the waiting area, walked towards the arena. Low Profound Class 1, the 10 students walked with high spirits. In the Devil Class, the 10 students were lazy and sloppy to the point of being unpresentable. With such a comparison, no matter how one looked at it, this match was like a match between Low Profound Class 1 and the Devil Class. Could it be, Devil Class could still think of other sinister tricks? Both parties stood straight and bowed to each other. The class monitor of Low Profound Class 1 was personally participating in the competition. After seeing the delicate young girl standing opposite him, his expression added some pride. Their Low Profound Class 1 could finally turn over a new leaf in this interclass competition. Little beauty, don't worry, brother will definitely let you leave this arena without pain. End the battle quickly, I won't hurt you. The Low Profound Class 1 students, upon hearing the class monitor's teasing, all laughed out loud. Disdainful laughter, just like before, when Devil Class faced Low Profound Class 2, they were ridiculed. Ruopan picked her ears, straightened her frail body, lightly snorted, then I'm really sorry, sister will definitely let you leave this arena in pain, and slowly torture you. Ha 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 ha, did you hear that? This little beauty said she wants to torture us, ha ha ha. The class monitor turned his head, looked at the few students beside him, pointed at Ruopan, and laughed. The Low Profound Class 1 students burst into laughter. One by one, they held their stomachs and laughed so hard that they couldn't stand straight. Trash from the trash class, you can't even use ordinary mystical energy attacks, yet you still want to participate in the interclass competition. You even said that you want to torture us. Little beauty, don't say that we don't know how to be tender towards you. We promise that we will love you dearly. As they spoke, the words coming out of the Low Profound Class 1 students' mouths became extremely vulgar. Around the stage, there were spirit formation masters sent by the General Institute. They had set up a spirit formation to prevent the students from losing control and injuring the spectators. Their voices were not low. The onlookers could not hear it clearly. All he knew was that the two classes were exchanging harsh words with each other. However, the dean and the general hospital could hear it clearly. The Low Profound Class 1's filthy words made the dean's brows knit tightly together. Then, he looked at the seat of the chief elder. The expressions of the 4 elders did not change. But the white eyebrows furrowed. They had always been of virtue and prestige, and the people they got to know were those who were gentle and polite in front of them. How could the 4 elders remain indifferent to the words of Low Profound Class 1? The dean could not sit still. Just as he was about to stand up and reprimand the Low Profound Class 1's unbearable abuse. However, he heard a scream. Chapter 11:27. The students of Low Profound Class 1 were stunned. The onlookers were stunned. The dean was also stunned. Just now, the class monitor of Low Profound Class 1 was pointing at Ruopan, spewing out those unbearable words. Ruopan suddenly stretched out her hand, and directly pinched the fingers of the class monitor of Low Profound Class 1. Her fingers twisted. The fingers of the class monitor of Low Profound Class 1, only to hear the crisp sound of bones breaking. That pain, it was simply unbearable. After the class monitor of Low Profound Class 1 knelt on the ground, Ruopan, who was standing opposite, blinked her bright eyes, turned around in surprise, and looked at her classmates. Look! I defeated the class monitor of Low Profound Class 1. Am I very powerful? The students of Devil Class were also surprised, and nodded their heads. They kept praising Ruopan's power. The students of Low Profound Class 1 were unable to restrain their anger. The students of Devil Class actually dared to make the first move. A bunch of trash. Actually dared to injure their class monitor. The class monitor represented the face of the entire class. Without saying a word, Ruopan directly broke the fingers of the class monitor of Low Profound Class 1. This was a ruthless slap on the face of Low Profound Class 1. Hence, the students of Low Profound Class 1 were enraged. Pointing at the nose of Devil Class, he scolded, "You little whore. See if I don't beat you to death." The battle situation was on the verge of breaking out. Low Profound Class 1 was obviously affected by the previous duel between Devil Class and Low Profound Class 2. They were afraid that Devil Class would use the same old tricks again. After the battle started, the 9 of them directly surrounded the students of Devil Class, and pounced towards them. The Devil Class who had their path blocked, did not even have the chance to run around on the stage. As expected. On the faces of the students of Devil Class, they all revealed a panicked and frightened expression. When they saw the students of Low Profound Class 1 rushing up, preparing to gang up on them. This fist had not even landed on their bodies. The students of Devil Class were already screaming in fear. Closing their eyes, they pulled the people beside them and shouted, "Help! Run!" The situation on the stage once again became a comical stage show. The students of the Devil Class covered their heads and scampered away like rats, screaming like ghosts. One by one, they closed their eyes and charged around, bumping into a student, then brandishing their fists, they landed on the Low Profound Class 1 student's body. That strength. It was even lighter than a tickle. The Low Profound Class 1 student just raised his hand and gave it a push. The Devil Class students fell to the ground, howling like ghosts. The onlookers burst into laughter. Over at the president's seat, his expression was unsettled. In the waiting area of the class, there was a lot of discussion. Looking at the Devil Class students lying on the floor, the Low Profound Class students picked up their class monitor. The class monitor endured the pain and clenched his teeth as he fiercely kicked a Devil Class student who was leaning against his leg and scolded angrily, "A bunch of trash, simply trash that can't be any more trash. Did you join the interclass competition just to get beaten up? Alright, I'll fulfill your wish." One kick was followed by the next, and it was followed up by the next. Unexpectedly, the student who was originally lying on the ground and howling in pain. Suddenly he fiercely hugged Low Profound Class 1 class monitor's leg. Class 1 monitor was livid with anger, he shook his leg, trying to break free from the Devil Class students. Who asked you to kick me? Who asked you to kick me? I'm going to beat you to death." Like a few-year-old child who was beaten to tears, words that were throwing a tantrum came out from the Devil Class students' mouths. Listening to it, it was extremely laughable. But the students of Low Profound Class 1 could not laugh. Especially the class monitor, other than screaming, he could not make any other sound. That Devil Class student, after hugging the class monitor's thigh, his head directly bumped upwards. 1. Chapter 11:28. Low Profound Class 1 Class Monitor, AOT. Out, the Low Profound Class 1 monitor who was lying on the ground, other than clutching his balls, he had no more energy to pay attention to the situation in the arena. He felt like he was about to break into pieces. So broken that he didn't want to. After the monitor fell down, the other students panicked. They wanted to support their own monitor. Before they could take a step, a leg inexplicably stretched out under their feet, using force to trip them. The Low Profound Class 1 student only had time to let out a scream before he fell heavily to the ground. Not waiting for that student to react, 2 students from Devil Class directly pounced on the Low Profound Class 1 student. Attacking left and right, they beat him up wildly. The other students wanted to help, but they were all the same, tripped to the ground, and then 2 Devil Class students pounced on them. Dirty tricks, here it comes again. The crowd's laughter grew louder and louder. They were also dumbstruck. To the Devil Class students, this kind of opportunistic method. They were speechless to the extreme. Isn't this a little too cruel? In the power viewing area, the Shengguan power area, Butler Shangwan frowned as he stared at the farce on the arena, his face darkening. He raised his hand, his fingers twitching. Behind him, a middle-aged man dressed in a black robe, with a cold expression, who looked like he had experienced the vicissitudes of life, took a step forward. He said something in a low voice. That middle-aged man nodded slightly. After receiving the order, he was about to leave to make arrangements. But he bumped into a person. The middle-aged man turned his head, and what entered his eyes was a blood-red robe. Raising his eyes, he met with a pair of cold eyes that seemed to bear thousands of years of frost. He was stunned, and lowered his head in fear, lord of the castle. Hearing the voice, Butler Shangwan immediately turned his head. After seeing Zhu Wu Axian behind him, Butler Shangwan immediately stood up, and respectfully extended his hand to invite Zhu Wu Axian to sit on his seat. Zhu Wu Axian's expression was indifferent. He coldly glanced at the middle-aged man standing at the side, and said coldly, "Where do you want to go?" The middle-aged man's legs went soft, his body tensed, and he lowered his head, not daring to speak. "Let him run some errands for me, and do some things." Butler Shangwan continued, and smiled flatteringly. Lord of the castle is also interested in the school's competition. Zhu Wuxin ignored Butler Shangwan's question. His cold eyes fixed on the middle-aged man for a long time. His gaze darkened as he collected his thoughts. Yes. It was a single word without any fluctuation. No one could guess what Zhu Wu Axian was trying to express. Just as he was about to speak, he saw Zhu Wuxin walk directly to Butler Shangwan's seat and sit down. When Butler Shangwan saw this, he secretly waved his hand at the middle-aged man, signaling him to leave quickly. Then, he followed behind Zhu Wuxin and sat down not far from him. The middle-aged man quietly disappeared into the crowd. Until the figure disappeared. Only then did Zhu Wuxin retract his gaze. I didn't expect Castle Lord to be interested in the class competition of the Heavenly Academy. A hearty laughter came from the side. He was the representative of the Yuchi family, the third head of the Yuchi family. A navy blue brocade robe wrapped around his extremely stout body, and a simple and honest silly smile hung on his face. However, no matter how stupid and honest he looked on his face, it didn't matter. The shrewd scheming in his eyes couldn't be hidden no matter what. When Butler Shangwan saw him walking over, his expression suddenly changed. They were listed as one of the 4 great families in the West Continent. In the dark, they had long been fighting to the death. The tranquility and harmony on the surface couldn't be maintained. Chapter 1129. The Yuchi third boss rubbed his plump belly and sat down on an empty seat at the side as if he was familiar with them. I wanted to say hello when I saw the Lord yesterday but missed the opportunity. It's rare to see the Lord today, so naturally I came over to say hello. Butler Shangwan suppressed the urge to chase him away. What greeting! He was obviously here to build a relationship with the Lord. Third head Yuchi looked at Zhu Wuxin with a smile. Lord, do you mind if I accompany you to watch the competition? Zhu Wuxin didn't even bat an eyelid. He didn't respond to his question. Instead, he asked another question. What do you think about the competition between the 2 classes? Third head Yuchi and Butler Shangwan were stunned. Zhu Wuxin was really interested in the interclass competition. And he even asked for their opinion. Third head Yuchi was the first to react and was overjoyed. This was agreeing to let him watch the competition with him. He could even discuss the competition process with the Lord. Wouldn't this shorten the distance between the Yuchi family and Death God Castle? He opened his mouth and was about to analyze the situation on the stage. But at the same time, he heard Butler Shangwan say, without a doubt, it must be low profound class 1 that one. Third head Yuchi shut his mouth. Zhu Wuxin looked at Butler Shangwan. Seeing Zhu Wuxin's reaction, Butler Shangwan smiled even more flatteringly. Devil class is the useless class of the Heavenly Academy. It's a place where students who passed the entrance examination but did not perform well in the freshman training are sent there. I heard 5th Miss mention about Devil Class before. The students of Devil Class might not even be able to defeat a normal person. Zhu Wuxin was still expressionless as he looked at him, waiting for him to continue. Looking at the situation on the stage, the Devil Class students, other than pestering endlessly, barging their way in and having a little bit of luck, in terms of strength, they definitely cannot compare to low profound Class 1. After saying that, he raised his eyebrows provocatively at third head Yuchi. As though he was proud. He had completely analyzed the situation. Third head Yuchi had no chance to speak. But third head Yuchi only smiled faintly. In front of him, the words his big brother had said seemed to echo. That girl is a miracle. Not only did she create a miracle, she can also bring miracles to the people around her. The battle in the tomb of the Ling King. The Yuchi third master had mentioned it countless times to Big Brother. Yuchi family's patriarch's admiration towards Yiqing Luo had totally surpassed his own son's death. His 2 sons were ruined in Yiqing Luo's hands. But he was still unable to say out of righteous indignation that he could avenge his son and become enemies with Yiqing Luo. Up until now, the Yuchi family had made too many enemies. There was no way out. If they were to offend Yiqing Luo, what they would get in return, it was a pain that was even worse than what he was experiencing now. A Yuchi family head who was over 50 years old and was used to killing. Yet, he was so afraid of a 15-year-old girl. And this young lady was a student of the Devil Class. Yiqing Luo who could bring miracles to the people around her. How could the Devil Class be as inferior as what Butler Shengwan said? I, on the other hand, feel that Devil Class will obtain victory in the second round of the competition. Moreover, it will be well deserved. The honor of winning the second match. He belonged to the Devil Class. Don't look at how the Devil Class looks now, they look like they're in a sorry state. Chapter 1130. You're talking nonsense. Butler Shengwan saw that his analysis was overruled by the third head of Yuchi. And he even said that Devil Class's abilities surpassed low profound Class 1. A useless class, without a teacher to teach them, a useless class that was left to fend for itself. How could they surpass low profound Class 1? In the first round, Devil Class was obviously at a disadvantage. If it wasn't for their good luck and their ability to escape, how could they have passed the first round? The corner of the Yuchi third head's lips curled into a cold smile. Luck? Then in the second round, they completely suppressed low profound Class 1 to the point that they had no chance to resist. Was that luck? Isn't it? Butler Shengwan scoffed. Once is luck, twice is luck, until now, can you still say that it's luck? When Butler Shengwan heard that, his face stiffened. Zhu Wuxian's interest was piqued. He squinted his cold eyes and looked at the third head of Yuchi. Tell me more. The third head of Yuchi rubbed his fat belly and smiled like the Buddha. He politely nodded at Zhu Wuxian, then shifted his gaze to the arena and gave his opinion. In the first round, Devil Class and Low Profound Class 2's duel. Although it looked like Devil Class was running away, but in actual fact, Devil Class students should have purposely let the Low Profound Class 2 students run all over the arena. When the Low Profound Class 2 students were tired, they would gather together and beat up the Low Profound Class 2 students. He spoke very quickly, but every word was spit out clearly. To let the Low Profound Class 2 students run all over the arena, and to be able to control them in one place, and at the same time to rest when they were tired, this is definitely not just because of luck. To be able to do this, one must have a strong observation and calculation ability. Also, Devil Class is very familiar with their opponent. If they did not understand their opponent's characteristics, It was impossible for Devil Class students, in such a short period of time, to plot against the low profound Class 2 students. Chu Wuxi nodded, his expression calm and unperturbed. The third head of Yuqi's heart was in his throat. He could not guess what answer Zhu Wuxian wanted to hear. He could only follow his own thoughts and continued, the second round, against low profound Class 1. In this battle, I have understood the tactics of the Devil Class. Barging around, pestering endlessly, this made the low profound Class 1 who was already bursting with confidence, even more confident, and even more disregard the Devil Class. But every time the Devil Class students barged in, or when they punched the low profound Class 1 students in the chest, it was all premeditated. What they want to do is to catch all the students of low profound Class 1 in one go. The Devil Class is so powerful. Butler Shengguan obviously did not believe it. He had long been influenced by Shengguan Liuli and looked down on the Devil Class. He only felt that the Yuqi third head's analysis was an alarmist. If the students in the Devil Class are so smart, their profound levels wouldn't be so low. Butler Shengguan squinted his eyes as he stared intently at the Devil Class students on the stage who were in a sorry state but were still clinging on to their opponents, trash with no fighting power at all. Even if you win against the low profound class, the following matches will only be a joke. The Yuqi third boss was silent. She did not refute his words. Indeed, this was also what he felt strange about. The methods used by the Devil Class students were indeed despicable. But this method was indeed based on their own ability to do so. To be able to play with the two classes of low profound class in the palm of their hands, it was indeed the strength of the Devil Class. But why these students' profound levels were so low? Chapter 1131. Mystic Profound 4th Grade. No matter if it was Class 1 or Class 2, there were plenty of them in the low profound class. Not to mention, the 10 Devil Class students on the stage, the highest profound grade was only Mystic Profound 4th Grade. If Devil Class really defeated low profound Class 1 and won the second round, then in the third round, no matter if it was against Intermediate Profound Class 2 or High Profound Class 2, Devil Class would definitely be the one to be beaten. These underhanded tricks should be thought of by Devil Class's Yiqing Luo. After Butler Shengguan heard the analysis, he had already agreed with Third Master Yuqi's point of view. He was able to defeat his opponent without suffering any damage. Although it looked pathetic, but in actual fact, Devil Class was the biggest winner. Obviously they were just trash without any ability. Just based on these messy underhanded tricks, would they be able to walk to the end? Butler Shengguan snorted lightly, knowing that these underhanded tricks are shameful. Yiqing Luo doesn't even have the guts to appear on the stage. Even if Devil Class won the 2 rounds, they would still be a joke in the future. Not only a bunch of trash from the waste class. A bunch of insidious and cunning people who only knew how to use underhanded tricks in a proper competition. What accompanied the Devil Class was endless scolding and ridicule. No matter if it was Heavenly Academy or West Continent. There was a high possibility that there was no place for Devil Class to stand. Gossip would often become the sharpest blade. Killing without any form. Third Master Yuqi remained silent. Towards Devil Class's actions in the first and second round of the competition, they were able to lead their opponents and play with them. He indeed admired Devil Class's students, to be able to execute these 2 underhanded tricks perfectly without any accidents or mistakes. To be able to train a bunch of low profound grade students to such a stage. He had already determined that this underhanded trick was guided by Yiqing Luo. Without Yiqing Luo, these students could not possibly reach such a stage. And one more very important point. Zhu Wuxin, who had been silent for a long time, suddenly spoke indifferently. The two of them immediately turned their gazes towards him solemnly. Zhu Wuxian's icy cold eyes stared at the stage, seemingly unfocused, yet as though he was seriously watching the battle situation on the stage. He didn't continue. The two of them didn't dare to open their mouths. The atmosphere was stiff. After a while, Zhu Wuxian's extremely cold voice, wrapped in frost, entered their ears. Chemistry. The two ice-cold words were like an icicle, piercing into their hearts. Both of them were startled. They exchanged glances before coming to a realization. Tacit understanding. Butler Shengguan muttered, not understanding the meaning behind Zhu Wuxian's words. But the Yuchi third boss suddenly clapped his hands. Right. Chemistry. The chemistry between the students of Devil Class. After 2 consecutive duels, Devil Class students were able to use their underhanded methods to perfection. Toying with the low profound class in the palm of their hands. It was not because of their profound rank. It was a tacit understanding. The 10 people in the arena, whether they were attacking or fleeing in all directions, were wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. But they were all like Maltos. Stick together tightly. Even if they were separated, it wouldn't be more than 3 steps. Their teamwork allowed them to understand what the other party was going to do and where they were going with just a glance or a breath. This kind of tacit understanding. It was definitely not something that could be achieved overnight. Just like the triplets on the Godless Island, even though they had telepathy, they still needed to train for more than 10 years before they could truly become one. This Devil Class was not simple. Chapter 1132. Dong, the sound of the gong rang. Elder Yun Duan's deep and resonant voice resounded throughout the West Square. Preliminary round, second class confrontation, first round, low profound class 1 versus Devil Class wins. Following Yun Duan's announcement, the crowd burst out into a hubbub of noise. Vaguely, there were some boorish men scolding the unfairness of the class confrontation. On the arena, low profound class 1 students laid on the ground, unable to move. Whereas Devil Class's students, their clothes were messy, their hair was messy and they were in a sorry state. But they stood in the arena with ecstatic smiles on their faces. 1. Devil Class's students once again won in the class confrontation competition. If the first time was an accident, then what about the second time? Devil Class, the class that was looked down upon by everyone. Devil Class, the class that was labeled as trash, all the students were trash. Devil Class, the class that made the Heavenly Academy's students feel ashamed when they mentioned it. Devil Class. They won the second round of competition. Low profound class 2 classes successively lost in their hands. Even if the method was a little underhanded. Using a little trick. But in the end, they won. High profound class 2 waiting area. Lu Shuayu's icy cold face sunk, coldly looking at the arena, the Devil Class's students who were cheering happily, her hands clenched into fists. Lu Shualan's face was filled with worry. Sister, Devil Class's students. How could they have such good luck? 2 consecutive rounds. They won both rounds. Yiqing Luo is obviously not here. When they saw that among the Devil Class's students, Yiqing Luo was not there, their hearts heaved a sigh of relief. Without Yiqing Luo in the Devil Class, they could easily crush and hang them up. But, without Yiqing Luo in the Devil Class, they won 2 rounds consecutively. Although, both were against the low profound class. But, in the Academy's records, even if it was the low profound class, their innate talent was much stronger than the Devil Class by hundreds or thousands of times. But, Devil Class won. That little slut has a lot of underhanded tricks. Lu Shuayu glanced at the students beside her. The third round of competition, after we meet with Devil Class, try to break their rhythm. As long as they don't coordinate with each other, their underhanded tricks will not be able to be used. No wonder she was the faculty council's vice president. Lu Shuiyu's observation ability was indeed amazing. After 2 matches, she had already seen through the tricks of the 10 students from Devil class. And in the shortest time possible, he thought of a countermeasure to counter Devil class's dirty tricks. The students of High Profound Class 2 nodded solemnly. They are High Profound Class 2 students. It was a higher class in the Heavenly Academy, second only to the class of gods. If they were to lose to the tactics of the Devil class. For the High Profound Class 2. It was a lifetime of shame. They could only win, they could not lose. The gong sounded, signaling the start of the second round. The students from High Profound Class 2 who were called to fight walked up the stage. The students that Lu Shuiyu pointed out were those who were above average in High Profound Class 2. Lu Shuilan was also appointed by her to participate in the competition. In the past few days, the Lu family had sent Lu Shuiyu many pills that could strengthen her body and mind. Right now, Lu Shuiyu's profound rank had reached the first level of the Earth Profound Realm. He was the one with the highest profound rank among the 10 students participating in the competition. Even the weakest was at the Mystic Profound 6th grade. He took out these 10 students. It was obvious that High Profound Class 2 was prepared to win the second round in one fell swoop. Of course, High Profound Class 2 and Intermediate Class 2. Without a doubt, High Profound Class 2 would win. Although everyone already knew the outcome of this match, but they were still exceptionally excited. After all, after seeing the farce between Low Profound Class 1 and Devil class, they urgently needed a real battle. Chapter 1133. Students from both sides went up and bowed to each other. There wasn't much conversation. Both sides directly started the battle. One had to admit. This match between High Profound Class 2 and Intermediate Profound Class 2 was much more exciting than the previous few matches. The students' coordination, judging the timing of their attacks, strong attacks etc. It made everyone's eyes lit up. But after the time it took to burn half a stick of incense, the spectators' hearts were all in suspense. They felt their blood boiling. Long Yunjian squinted his azure blue eyes as he stared deeply at the obviously strange students on the stage. Shengguan Luli is not the only one who makes use of profound Yin Qi. This match, Intermediate Profound Class 2. Looks like they will definitely win. Intermediate Profound Class 2's target is Devil class. Shengguan Luli wants to make use of Intermediate Profound Class 2 to chase us out of the preliminary round. Qiao Jin and the rest nodded. They could all tell. Shengguan Luli was not the only student in Intermediate Profound Class 2. 10 students. At least 4 students made use of Profound Yin Qi to control the students in the High Profound Class 2 to the extent that they had no chance to resist. However, no matter if it was the director or the main elder. No one discovered this. Profound Yin Qi, only those who knew the inside story would be able to sense it. Long Yunjian's expression turned colder and colder. He had not forgotten what the dark forces had done to him. He had not forgotten that the dark forces had manipulated him to attack Yiqing Luo. He had not forgotten that his sword had pierced through Yan Shao Yi. Dark forces. It was all because of the dark forces. Even the Devil class's students didn't put it to heart. But that matter would become a wound in his heart, a huge wound. He wanted to fill this wound. The only way was to destroy the dark forces. To kill the person who had manipulated him. Class monitor. Sensing the strong murderous aura from Long Yunjian, Qiao Jin immediately grabbed Long Yunjian's arm and raised his voice, "Class monitor." Long Yunjian's clear eyes flashed. He regained his usual indifference. Qiao Jin looked at him for some time as he tightened his grip on his arm. But he didn't continue speaking. He and Long Yunjian had been brothers for a few years. How would he not understand where Long Yunjian's sudden murderous intent came from? Long Yun-jean wasn't willing to say, so he naturally wouldn't ask. This was obviously a scene of brotherly love. But in the eyes of others, that was not the case. Devil class won 2 rounds consecutively. Naturally, many people were paying attention to their situation. For example, the students from High Profound Class 1. "You guys, look!" A female student shouted loudly. It was hard to tell if she was agitated or excited. It's the class monitor of the Devil class and the students of the Devil class. The female student beside him immediately looked over. The class monitor of Devil class and a student beside him were holding hands, their fingers intertwined. Most importantly, the 2 people intertwining their fingers were both men. It was a man. Was this a show of cutting one's sleeve in broad daylight? But to be honest, the appearance of the students in Devil class is really much better than the other classes in the academy. Look at each and every one of them, the males are handsome and the females are beautiful. It's so pleasing to the eye. It's the one who's holding the Devil class monitor's hand, other than being a little ugly, the rest of them all make one's heart palpitate. Even though they were High Profound class students. Even though he was a student who lost the competition. But they couldn't stop their rotten hearts from swelling. Devil class students, men holding hands and whatnot. Chapter 1134. The excitement of this group of female students also attracted the attention of other students. The students of High Profound Class 1 looked towards the direction of the Devil class. After understanding the topic that the female students were talking about, Yizichen's eyes lit up. All the male students' faces darkened. Cut sleeves. What was there to be excited about? Cutting sleeves and whatnot is so disgusting. The attention of the students of High Profound Class 1 was completely diverted from the arena to the Devil class. All of them rubbed the goosebumps on their bodies and felt disgusted. The actions of these male students caused a group of female students to roll their eyes at them. They even received a bunch of pedantic, unromantic, and other comments. The 2 of them are a bit like the 2 in our class. A female student whispered. The other female students instantly understood and nodded, similar. Very similar. While they were talking, the 2 people who were being discussed had already stood up from the waiting area of High Profound Class 1. Walking at the front, he was tall and slender, but he was tall and straight. He was handsome, and there was a brilliant smile on his lips. Walking at the back, his body proportion was perfect, slightly taller than the guy in front, and his expression was calm. The 2 of them stood up. All the female students instantly shut their mouths. Their hands covered their mouths tightly, not allowing themselves to scream out loud. It's Qi Yijing and Dong Huanglang. It's this pair. They are a pair. Speaking of Dong Huanglang and Qi Yijing. Although these 2 were freshmen who had just entered High Profound Class 1. But their talent and ability to comprehend were extremely strong. Moreover, they never gave up and had extremely strong willpower. In just a few months' time, they had already made the students of High Profound Class 1 completely accept their existence. And captured a bunch of fangirls. One attacking and one receiving. One hot and one cold. Like a Siamese twins, no matter what they did, they would stick together. Even when they went to the toilet, bathed, and slept, they were all together. This was simply a combination that made people's imagination run wild. Countless fangirls, with the eyes of a fangirl, watched Dong Huanglang and Qi Yijing walk towards the direction of the Devil class. High Profound Class 1 instantly exploded. In a hubbub, guessing that the 2 of them were going to find the Devil class, could it be that they were going to be the pair with the class monitor? Talking to each other, what does it feel like to be cut sleeves? When Qi Yijing and the other two walked over, Long Yunzhan and the others had already sensed them. Dong Huanglang was always friendly. He walked over and sat down next to Long Yunzhan. He put one hand on Long Yunzhan's shoulder. Long Yunzhan's eyes sank. He doesn't like strangers touching him. Even the students of the devil class would intentionally avoid him and not come into contact with him. A trace of frost appeared on Long Yunzhan's frozen handsome face. He released his qi and was about to attack Dong Huanglang's hand. A large palm covered his shoulder. The profound qi in his body was suppressed by a force. Long Yunzhan frowned and looked up. "We don't mean to disturb you. We just want to ask why student Yi did not participate in today's competition." Classmate Yi. Yi Qing Luo. Students from the high profound class would still come to inquire about Yi Qing Luo's whereabouts. Judging from his tone, he wasn't trying to pry. On the contrary, there was a hint of concern. Long Yunzhan retracted his imposing manner. "What's your relationship with Qing Luo?" "Friends." Dong Huanglang said with a smile. "We met during the freshman training. We are friends with student Yi." Freshman training. At that time, he didn't know Yi Qing Luo. Long Yunzhan frowned and looked at Qiao Jin. Qiao Jin nodded. Chapter 1135. He was indeed considered as Yi Qing Luo's friend. However, ever since they were separated, they had been busy with their own studies and hadn't had much interaction. However, the two of them were not bad people. In today's competition, I'm afraid that Intermediate Profound Class 2 is aiming for your devil class. Qi Yijing said lightly, "If student Yi is not here, you'd better admit defeat in the third round." Admitting defeat did not mean that he was eliminated. Tomorrow's semifinals would be the true elimination round. If he could endure today's match and participate in the semifinals tomorrow, even if he lost, at least he wouldn't be injured or meet with any accidents. Long Yunzhan and Qiao Jin looked at each other. These two people know the motive of Intermediate Profound Class 2. He actually saw that Intermediate Profound Class 2 would win against High Profound Class 2. One had to know that everyone was sure that High Profound Class 2 would win this round. These two people had actually determined that Intermediate Profound Class 2 would be the class that would face off against Devil Class. There's something wrong with the students of Intermediate Profound Class 2. Qi Yijing went straight to the point. When we were fighting just now, I felt that there was a force in the bodies of these students that did not belong to them. Qi Yijing and Dong Huanglang were the two who had just entered the arena. The other 8 were carried out of the arena. Only the two of them, under the aggressive encirclement of Intermediate Profound Class 2, only suffered superficial injuries. When mentioning this matter, Dong Huanglang, who had always been careless, also lowered his voice. "Yes, it's that force. It's disgusting, and we can't get close to them at all. If we react a little slower, we will definitely be killed." Dong Huanglang gnashed his teeth when he mentioned the word merciless hand. He rubbed his aching chest. There were several places on his body where Shengguan Liuli had struck. Purple bruises had already appeared on his face. The students of Intermediate Profound Class 2 are cheating. Qi Yijing said lightly. He had cheated to the point where even the dean and the elders of the general courtyard could not detect it. Even if they knew that Intermediate Profound Class 2 was cheating, they couldn't say it out loud. Most importantly, the two of them were not very interested in winning. Just that, when they saw the battle between Intermediate Profound Class 2 and High Profound Class 2, Qi Yijing suddenly understood something. Intermediate Profound Class 2. If they wanted to obtain victory, they had to openly destroy the devil class on the stage. The enmity between Shengguan Liuli and Yi Qing Luo was something they had heard from the other students. "You guys can't beat Intermediate Profound Class 2. Qi Yijing looked at Long Yunzhan calmly. His tone was calm as still water. He didn't mean to mock her. It was a suggestion from the bottom of his heart. It's impossible for me to surrender. Long Yunjian nodded slightly, expressing Devil Class's gratitude towards their concern. Devil Class students do not have the habit of retreating. The world had not perished, and they would not surrender even in death. Even though they knew that the road ahead was dangerous, they still didn't give up. They would also charge forward without hesitation. Because they were no longer weaklings. He was no longer trash. They wanted to move from the darkness to the light and welcome a new life. Because Yi Qing Luo was still waiting for them. For Yi Qing Luo, for the Devil Class, and for himself. They would never admit defeat. Most importantly, Intermediate Profound Class 2 would not give them the chance to admit defeat. They, because of Shangguan Liuli and Yi Qing Luo's blood oath, had no choice but to admit defeat. Shangguan Liuli's motive was to eliminate Devil Class in today's preliminary round. Which meant that the third round of competition. Chapter 1136. Seeing the attitude of Devil Class's students, Qi Yijing didn't say anything more. Dong Huanglang scratched his head. If Student Yi is not around, I'm afraid it will be difficult for you to win. Thank you for your concern for Devil Class. Qiao Ji nodded at them. Immediately, he lowered his voice and warned, you should pretend that you don't know about this matter. Otherwise, you won't be able to defend against a fatal disaster. The two of them were stunned. Obviously, Devil Class's students had long seen through the motive of Intermediate Profound Class 2. They had also seen through the cheating of Intermediate Profound Class 2. Fatal disaster. The motive of Intermediate Profound Class 2 was not to beat Devil Class and become the Academy's #1 class. But wanted Devil Class's life. Seeing Qi Yijing's calm eyes, a glint flashed past. Qiao Jin kept the smile on his lips. I'm serious, the more you know, the faster you die. Dong Huanglang was stunned by this tone. It wasn't that he was afraid. But he was worried about Yi Qing Luo, worried about Devil Class. If it really involved a matter of life and death. Then, between Intermediate Profound Class 2 and Devil Class, it wasn't as simple as Yi Qing Luo and Shangguan Liuli's little girl feud. Just as he was about to speak, his shoulder was pressed down by someone. It was Qi Yijing. Qi Yijing forcefully pulled Dong Huanglang into his arms. Ignoring his struggle, he said as he left, sorry to disturb you, if Student Yi is back, please send our regards. Saying that, he forcefully dragged Dong Huanglang and left Devil Class area. Long Yunjian, Qiao Jin and the rest didn't even glance at the two of them. But their hearts were unable to calm down. Intermediate Profound Class 2's actions were so brazen. The dark forces were already so arrogant to this extent. Qing Luo, was she really alright? The Overlord he really arrived in time. Dong! The gong was sounded. The two classes that were locked in a stalemate on the arena had finally decided the victor and loser. It made everyone's jaws drop. The class that won, Intermediate Profound Class 2. Not only did the High Profound Class 2 lose, they lost terribly. The profound practitioner of the Earth Profound Realm was directly abused to the point of being carried to the infirmary. The crowd expressed. Strange things happened all the time, but there were especially many today. A single Devil Class winning 2 rounds consecutively was already a huge surprise to everyone. Now there was another Intermediate Profound Class 2. Consecutively winning 2 classes from the High Profound Class. Moreover, it was the kind of crushing victory. The Heavenly Academy was going to soar to the skies this year. Of course, compared to the despicable fighting style of the Devil Class, the true strength of the Intermediate Profound Class 2 was like a dark horse in the Heavenly Academy. After this battle, Intermediate Profound Class 2 could be promoted to High Profound Class students. On the dean's side, the dean's expression was relatively calm. The other elders had weird expressions on their faces. He couldn't tell if he should be happy or worried. The students from Intermediate Profound Class 2 had crushed the students from the High Profound class. Logically speaking, this was an honor for the Heavenly Academy. However, the High Profound Class 2 that had always enjoyed the higher education of the Academy was actually crushed by the Intermediate Profound Class 2. If it was a battle between High Profound Class 1 and High Profound Class 2, it would be reasonable for High Profound Class 1 to win. But, Intermediate Profound Class 2 was separated by High Profound Class 1. Directly defeating Class 1, then slaughtering his way into Class 2, this would definitely make the headquarters suspect that the Heavenly Academy didn't know how to judge the students' comprehensive ability and allocated them to the most suitable class. For example, Shengguan Liuli, who was the brightest star in this competition. Chapter 1137. The third round of competition was between Intermediate Profound Class 2 and War Devil Class. Two dark horses, who were supposed to be eliminated in the first and second round of competition. But they had successfully made it to the third round. The strength of Intermediate Profound Class 2 was already so strong. Then, could Devil Class still rely on their little tricks to win the preliminary round? Perhaps, Intermediate Profound Class 2 would not give them this chance. However, after experiencing two consecutive dark horses turning the tables, the spectators didn't dare to say who would be the true winner of the preliminary round. The gong was struck. Yun Duan looked at the direction of the waiting area. Now, will both classes please choose 10 students each to compete on stage? Intermediate Profound Class 2 made a substitution. Other than Shengguan Liuli and the 3 students who had the Profound Yin Qi, the other 6 were all changed. On the side of Devil Class, there was also a change of members. Facing the students from Intermediate Profound Class 2 who had the Profound Yin Qi to increase their own strength. The other students in Devil Class had no ability to contend against them. Hence, Long Yunzhan, Qiao Jin, Yan Xiao Yi and the rest all went up on stage. Before going up on stage, Long Yunzhan walked to Kitty Li and whispered a few words into her ear. Kitty Li's originally unhappy expression from being rejected to go up on stage immediately shone. Her bright eyes blinked and she nodded her head vigorously. Long Yunzhan and the rest went up on stage. His peripheral vision kept looking at Kitty Li's direction. The surrounding people's attention were all focused on the 2 dark horse classes on stage. No one noticed that Kitty Li had already left the Devil Class silently. Until Kitty Li's breath completely disappeared, Long Yunzhan then slowly retracted his gaze. If Kitty Li went up on stage, there was indeed a chance to increase their chances of winning. But, Kitty Li was after all not a student of Devil Class. The interclass competition this time was an extremely important competition to the Devil Class. It concerned their future and lives. There was no room for any mistakes. Hence, he chose to reject the preferential treatment given by the Academy from the start. Devil Class would rather use the method of pretending to be a pig to eat the tiger, to fight round after round of competition. And not because of the so-called preferential treatment, they won in the end and became a topic of ridicule. More importantly, he needed Kitty Li to do something. In the entire Devil Class, only Kitty Li could do it. On the arena, the students from both classes stood still. Yun Duan looked left and right and frowned. Why is there one person missing from the Devil Class? Yes. There were only 9 people from the Devil Class. A 10-man team competition and only 9 people from the Devil Class came up. Why are there only 9 people in Devil Class? Could it be that Devil Class doesn't dare to fight against Intermediate Profound Class 2, and none of them are willing to go up the stage, so there are only 9 of them? That's not right. if the students of Devil class don't dare to participate in the competition, they wouldn't be sitting there quietly watching the competition, right? Look at the expressions of the Devil class students, they're very calm, there's no sense of fear or an atmosphere of not daring to go up on stage. What is the Devil class up to this time? Don't tell me, it's another new trick from the Devil class. The surrounding crowd was in a flurry of discussion, unable to comprehend the actions of the Devil class. Devil class against low profound class 2, it was a battle that they would definitely lose. Unfortunately, Devil class was missing one person to participate in the competition. Shangguan Liuli stood right at the front. She raised her head arrogantly and sneered in disdain. Devil class monitor, are you looking down on intermediate profound class 2? Long Yunjian looked at her calmly. The last position is reserved for Qing Luo. The entire crowd was silent. Chapter 1138. For Yi Qing Luo. Didn't Yi Qing Luo not appear at all? Don't tell me Devil class is still hoping that Yi Qing Luo will lead them to victory. Stop joking, today's competition is about to end and Yi Qing Luo hasn't even seen her shadow. She's obviously scared. Everyone felt that Devil class's move was a joke. However, Long Yunjian's expression remained unchanged as he remained indifferent. His azure blue eyes were emotionless as he stared at Yunjian in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. As though he was infected by this pair of eyes. Yunjian's tightly knitted brows slowly relaxed. He sighed softly. Are Devil class students confirmed? Confirmed. Without any hesitation, the 9 of them answered in unison. Since both parties have no objections, then the competition officially begins. A gong rang, stirring up everyone's hearts. Yunjian was about to retreat when he saw Shangguan Luli raising her hand and shouted, "Wait a minute." Shangguan Luli placed her hands behind her back. She slowly took a step forward with an arrogant expression. 2 months ago, my intermediate class 2 and Devil class had already agreed on a challenge for the interclass competition. The surrounding crowd remained silent. Moreover, I, Shangguan Luli, and student Yi Qing Luo, have also agreed on a blood oath to win the interclass competition. This matter, there were quite a number of people present who knew about it. After all, when they were in King Ling's tomb, Yi Qing Luo had agreed on a blood oath with Shangguan Luli in front of all the major forces. So the reason why the intermediate class 2 fought bravely was to carry out the blood oath with Yi Qing Luo till the end. Today's battle, according to Heavenly Academy's rules, whoever wins will be able to enter the finals directly. And the losing class will participate in tomorrow's semi-finals. Shangguan Luli's lips curled up coldly as her eyes revealed an extremely cold intent. Shangguan Luli, can I represent the intermediate class 2 to make a request to the director? She cupped her fists and looked respectfully at the director. The director naturally knew about the profound yin qi in Shangguan Luli's body. Shangguan Luli's request was the master's order. He naturally had no objections. Please speak. In this battle, if the Devil class loses, the Devil class will be completely eliminated and will be disqualified from the interclass competition. Shangguan Liuli said word by word. The onlookers were in an uproar. He was disqualified from the interclass competition. This also meant that Devil class's interclass competition this year would stop at the 3rd round of the preliminary round. He didn't even have the qualifications to participate in the semi-finals. Isn't this too much of a gamble? What if intermediate profound class 2 loses? Yan Xiaoyi suppressed the surging anger in her chest as she asked with a cold smile. Shangguan Liuli smiled confidently. Intermediate profound class 2 will definitely not lose. Is that so? Yan Xiaoyi raised her eyebrows, her smile carrying a tinge of mockery. Devil class will definitely not lose. You. Shangguan Liuli gritted her teeth. If intermediate profound class 2 loses this battle, then intermediate profound class 2 will be disqualified from the competition. Student Shangguan. In the intermediate profound class 2 waiting area, a few students suddenly stood up. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Losing in the preliminary round meant disqualification. How come they didn't know about this matter? Lu Xiaoyu couldn't control her temper as she stared angrily at Shengguan Liuli. What right do you have to decide on the matters of intermediate profound class 2? Class monitor Xie didn't even say anything and you're already pointing your fingers here. Have you asked for the opinions of the students? Shengguan Liuli slowly placed her gaze on Lu Xiaoyu. Chapter 1139. Was this considered as talking? Was this considered as discussing? This was obviously her own decision and she just casually told the students about it. The students in the intermediate profound class 2 started to feel conflicted. Although the reason why they were able to enter the third round was mainly because of Shengguan Liuli. But this didn't mean that they had to listen to Shengguan Liuli's arrangements. This was not putting them in his eyes at all. I don't agree. What right do you have to represent the intermediate profound class 2 and bet the future of the intermediate profound class 2 on the preliminary round? Lu Xiaoyu bit her lower lip as her beautiful eyes turned red. Shengguan Liuli arrogantly raised her chin as she looked at her in disdain. Based on the current me, I am the strongest person in the intermediate profound class 2. The strong were respected. No matter where it was the same. In the academy, in the class, it was the same. The reason why Xia Yan was able to become the intermediate profound class 2's class monitor was because his ability was indeed above all the students in the intermediate profound class 2 and he was resourceful. Now, Shengguan Liuli had already replaced Xia Yan's strongest position. Then, the intermediate profound class 2 should listen to her arrangements. As long as we don't acknowledge you as the strongest person in the intermediate profound class 2, you will never be able to replace class monitor Xia. Lu Xiaoyu argued with reason as she clenched her fists tightly. Shengguan Liuli didn't bother about her as she looked directly at the director. What does director think? This. The director pretended to be in a difficult position as he looked towards Devil class. The Academy's interclass competition is to evaluate each class or student's overall ability. Everything is based on the students. If Devil class has no objections, I naturally have no objections. Shengguan Liuli's beautiful eyes were filled with disdain as she looked coldly at Long Yunzhan. Your Devil class, without Yiqing Luo, is equivalent to a pool of dead water. Without her around, you don't have the guts to compete. Goading. Long Yunzhan's icy cold voice was devoid of emotions. Devil class's students weren't fools. Shengguan Liuli's motive was obviously to expel Devil class out of the competition. As long as Devil class lost the right to compete, the final champion would definitely be the intermediate profound class 2. Which meant the Yiqing Luo and Shengguan Liuli's blood oath bet, Yiqing Luo had lost. What awaited Yiqing Luo was the consequences of her meridians being broken and her profound jade heart being destroyed. And rejecting Shengguan Liuli's request. If the Devil class entered the third round of the preliminary round, it would be considered as their loss. There was no way they could make a comeback in the semi-finals tomorrow and the finals the day after tomorrow. As long as Yiqing Luo returned. As long as they won first place, there was hope. How could they agree to Shengguan Liuli's request? General. You bunch of trash dare to call yourselves generals. Shengguan Liuli wildly laughed. Cowardly trash, this miss will properly teach you a lesson today. Profound chi burst out of his body. Powerful profound chi encircled her body. A powerful force that was strong enough to destroy the arena erupted with a rumble. If it wasn't for the fact that the barrier around them was strong enough, perhaps this profound energy could directly shatter the entire arena. Shengguan Liuli made her move. Long Yunzhan's expression turned serious as he shouted in a low voice, "Be careful." With a flip of his palm, a blue longsword appeared in his hand. The hilt of the sword spun a few times and was firmly held by him. The long sword flashed and flew straight towards Shangguan Liuli's face. The other students also began to attack. This time, Devil Class didn't act like how they did previously, to deal with Intermediate Profound Class 2. Instead, it was a battle of strength that conformed to the norm. Chapter 1140. They wanted to find the students of Intermediate Profound Class 2 who had Xian Yin Qi in their bodies in the shortest time possible. Test the opponent's profound grade and habits, then filter it in their minds and analyze the most suitable way to deal with the enemy. This was what Yi Qing Luo had taught them. Know yourself and know your enemy, then you can win every battle. The ability to observe and analyze was crucial on the battlefield. But, very quickly, the Devil Class students were sweating profusely as they were pushed back by the attacks with great difficulty. Extremely strenuous, extremely pathetic. Because, they realized. The few students from the Intermediate Profound Class 2 who were participating in the competition. All of them had profound Yin Qi in their bodies. Under the situation of hiding their profound grade, facing these students' aggressive attacks, every move aimed at their vital points, it was inevitable that the Devil Class students would not be able to withstand it. Even so, the performance of the Devil Class students stunned the onlookers. This was totally different from the Devil Class who played dirty tricks and scurried around the stage. Although, the profound grade was rather low. Although, the attack was rather weak. But for the waste class, to be able to achieve this level, was already very good. Yes. Very good. At least, it was enough to match the strength of the low profound class. Intermediate Profound Class 2 is thinking. Dong Huang Lang's usual smiling face was filled with worry as he tugged the sleeves of the man next to him. Jing, will Devil Class? Yes. Qi Yi Jing grabbed his hand with a calm face and indifferent tone. Yes. Dong Huang Lang's pupils suddenly widened. Devil Class cannot lose. Student Yi is not back yet. So what? Qi Yi Jing glanced sideways, his cold gaze fell on him. Lang, this is the fate of Devil Class. You are not a student of Devil Class. Even if you want to help, you have the heart but not the power. Dong Huang Lang pursed his lips. Intermediate Profound Class 2 obviously saw Devil Class's teamwork ability. I always thought that Shangguan Luli was a stupid girl like a pig. I didn't expect that. She improved so quickly. Qi Yi Jing's tone of praise was still that emotionless. Indeed, the entire Heavenly Academy, from the elders to the students and staff. They were all extremely curious about Shangguan Luli's change. Ever since Shangguan Luli entered the school, because she was not on good terms with Yi Qing Luo, and her temperament was too arrogant. Most importantly, her brain wasn't working very well. But who would have thought that in just a few short months, Shangguan Liuli had not only changed from a young lady who couldn't even run a few laps during the freshman training, but had also become a powerful high-level profound practitioner. Furthermore, his mind was starting to shine. In the arena, Intermediate Profound Class 2 was entangled with Devil Class. The students of Intermediate Profound Class 2 had specially chosen a place. Directly fighting and chasing, he separated the 9 Devil Class students by a long distance. The teamwork of the Devil Class was simply too strong. He had to separate them and defeat them one by one. This was the tactic of Intermediate Profound Class 2. As long as they did not allow the students of the Devil Class to have the chance to cooperate with each other, Devil Class could only fall to the ground, raising the white flag and surrender trash. Shangguan Liuli's method was indeed effective. Just as the 9 of them pulled apart from each other, the Devil Class students obviously started to be unable to hold on any longer. He couldn't even dodge a simple punch. No one noticed that the 9 Devil Class students, before they were pulled apart from each other, exchanged glances. The corners of Shangguan Liuli's mouth curled up into a cold smile, and she retracted her gaze from those trash. She focused all her attention on the devil class monitor in front of her. This Long Yun-jan was indeed the class monitor of devil class. Chapter 1141. But the opponent was her. No matter how much ability Long Yun-jan had to kneel down and beg for mercy. Shengguan Luli squinted her sinister eyes as she raised both her hands and drew a semicircle in midair. A wisp of black smoke appeared, and two double-edged daggers appeared in her hands. This weapon. It was the weapon of the dark forces. And it used an extremely heavy profound yin qi. Long Yun-jan's long sword flipped, and after forcing out a ray of blue light, he swiftly retreated. At the same time, Shengguan Luli held her dagger and stuck close to him. Long Yun-jan didn't manage to retreat too far, and his back was touched by an icy cold blade. His reaction was swift as he turned around and landed in the left corner. Looking back, he saw an intermediate profound class 2 student holding a broadsword, glaring at him with Yi Qing Luo. Intermediate profound class 2 students, each entangled with a student, was enough. And the additional students were to cooperate with Shengguan Luli to subdue Long Yun-jan. You're indeed the class monitor of devil class, you have some skills. Shengguan Luli sneered, looks like that slut has trained you bunch of trash. Well, I thought you could end the battle quickly. Long Yun-jan didn't respond but squinted his azure blue eyes as he sized up that student. In just a few breaths, he had already wielded his sword and attacked that student. Shengguan Luli sneered in disdain as she flipped her dagger and blocked Long Yun-jan's sword qi, but this is interesting. What I like the most is to slowly torture my opponent to death. Today, if you don't admit defeat, I will not stop. Her tone was getting more and more vicious. It made one's hair stand on end when they heard that. The eerie smile had already twisted that delicate little face into a hideous, extremely terrifying sight. But unexpectedly, Long Yun-jan's long sword, which was originally thrusting towards that student, as it neared the intermediate profound class 2 student, a side sweep. It directly brushed past Shengguan Luli's dagger and slashed towards Shengguan Luli's abdomen. The continuous profound qi was like a raging wave, covering the sky and earth. It directly enveloped the both of them. The blue sword qi lingered and the sword ray pervaded. The surrounding air also followed the sword qi's attack. Shengguan Liuli's face turned green, and she quickly dodged. No matter how fast he was, he could not avoid being injured by Long Yun-jan's sword qi. That sword ray directly brushed past her clothes. A tear appeared on his greenish-white uniform. The torn cloth fell to the ground, revealing the traces of the red moon soil pouch. Even though the sword didn't cause any damage, it was still not enough. But this sword was an insult to Shengguan Liuli. She clenched her fists tightly, and her ruthless eyes flashed with intense hatred. Shengguan Liuli didn't care about the clothes that had been torn on her abdomen. She gripped her dagger tightly and flashed towards Long Yun-jan. The sharp double-edged dagger in his hand pressed against Long Yun-jan's neck. Devil class monitor. Shengguan Liuli clenched her teeth as she spat out these few words. The dagger in his hand had yet to slash across Long Yun-jan's neck. She saw that the person she had been entangled with had disappeared like a ghost in the blink of an eye. Her face instantly darkened. This class monitor of the devil class had actually embarrassed her twice. The current her was already a high-level profound practitioner of the earth profound realm. A piece of trash from the devil class had actually caused her to lose face time and time again. Good. Very good. She wanted to see what other abilities did this class monitor of the devil class have. She gave that intermediate profound class 2 student a look, and the both of them ran towards Long Yun-jan's direction at the same time. Chapter 1142. Below the stage, the spectators were completely stunned. This battle made all of them astonished and shocked. Devil class students. Their reaction to battle is not bad. Although they looked to be in a sorry state and suffered quite a number of injuries, but the speed of their attacks and the reaction to dodge, they totally don't look like students from the waste class. Devil class monitor is at least in the Mystic Profound 6th level. No, that's not right. It should be even higher. High Profound Class 2's Lu Shuelon, in the Earth Profound Realm, was defeated by Shengguan Lu Li. He can actually escape unscathed under the siege of Shengguan Lu Li and another student, attacking and defending freely. Heavens! Devil class monitor is so handsome. So handsome. Unknowingly, everyone's gaze had already been attracted by the students of Devil class. But for the so-called waste class trash to have such a dazzling performance, it made them shocked and amazed. The students at the waiting area of Devil class listened to the praises of those people. They couldn't help but snort coldly in their hearts. Just this level alone was enough to shock these people to no end. Then, if all the students of Devil class collectively released their profound grades, wouldn't they be so shocked that they fainted on the spot? On the stage, the battle was still ongoing. It continued for a full incense worth of time. The result of the battle had yet to be decided. No, it should be said, the result was very obvious. Devil class students were obviously not a match for Intermediate Profound Class 2. But, One Long Yunjian led the rhythm of everyone in Intermediate Profound Class 2. Even if there was no team cooperation, but their rhythm was still led by Long Yunjian. Even if they were injured, and fell to the ground pathetically. Devil class students still stood up without hesitation, and rushed forward again. After being swallowed by the profound yin qi, a few students, their strength and their own overall ability, all received a huge increase. Naturally, their own souls would also be affected by the profound yin qi. As a student, their conscience, and the youth's inexperience, were all completely swallowed. Right now, they were just tools controlled by the profound yin qi. His attacks, without hesitation. His attacks, without mercy. His attacks, aimed for the vital points. Devil class students, even if they released all their profound grade strength, they might not be the opponents of these tools. Other than Long Yunjian, the other 9 students' faces and bodies were already covered with wounds. Qiao Jin was slightly better off. He was only punched on the left side of his face. As for the other students, their injuries worsened. Every punch or palm strike from these tools, which knew no pain, would mobilize the mysterious yin qi in their bodies. They do not use weapons. He had to rely on his fists and palms. This was the biggest torture to the devil class. Heavy punches landed on his face and chest. A heavy roundhouse kick landed on the knee and abdomen. Falling down, they picked themselves up again. Not a single one of the devil class students retreated. No one gave up the chance to continue fighting. They believed in only one thing: persevere, wait for Yi Qing Luo's return. They believed that Yi Qing Luo would definitely rush back. Ah! A blood-curdling scream. Yan Xiaoyi's chest was struck and her petite body flew backwards. Xiao Yi! Qiao Jin shouted in panic as he lifted his leg and kicked away the Intermediate Profound Class 2 student who was pestering him, as he sprinted towards the direction of Yan Xiaoyi. He bent down and helped Yan Xiaoyi up. Just as he was about to open his mouth, Yan Xiaoyi stared at his back, her beautiful eyes enlarged as she endured the pain coming from her chest. Be careful. Her arms wrapped tightly around Qiao Jin's neck. Chapter 1143. Bam! With an explosion, a huge hole was blasted open on the ground where the two of them were. Ugh! Yan Xiaoyi's movement had affected the wound on her chest as she groaned in pain. Qiao Jin hugged her tightly as the two of them swiftly stood up. Are you all right? I'm fine. Yan Xiaoyi took a deep breath as she endured the pain from her body. In her beautiful eyes, there was a cold glint as she looked coldly at the two people at the side of the hole. The intermediate profound class 2 students who were entangled with her and the students who were entangled with Qiao Jin. They had already joined forces and were prepared to attack them. Looking at Yan Xiaoyi's pale face, Qiao Jin's eyes were sinister. Someone he couldn't bear to hurt. Intermediate profound class 2 students shouldn't dare to hurt her. Qiao Jin roared as a shocking cold glint shot out from his eyes. A strong gust of air rushed up to the sky. The air in the entire arena congealed into a block. His figure stretched out. He had already charged towards the two students. Both his palms were red, as though they were on fire. Directly hitting the chests of the two students. The two students were gloating over the huge destructive power that they had created. A whirlwind was stirred up. It cut their cheeks. Immediately after, the two of them felt a sharp pain in their chests as their bodies flew backwards. Before they could react, the two of them fell heavily onto the ground outside of the arena under the pressure of the strong palm chi. The two of them cried out in pain as they rolled on the ground. What did the devil class students do? That devil class student struck two intermediate profound class 2 students out of the arena with his bare hands. Heavens! Did you feel that strong profound energy from his body just now? Did you feel it? I don't believe it. I don't dare to believe it. How can a devil class student be so powerful? Being struck out of the arena meant that these two students had already been eliminated. Just now, Qiao Jin had merely struck out a palm and eliminated two intermediate profound class students. The surrounding crowd stood up agitatedly, unable to believe their own eyes. Just now, the profound energy from Qiao Jin's body was so thick, so strong. Qiao Jin. Yan Xiaoyi clutched her chest, her brows tightly knitted as she approached him from behind. Are you crazy? Just now, he had actually used his full strength to unleash that palm strike. Didn't they already inform him before he stepped onto the dueling ring? Before Yi Qing Luo returned, none of them were to reveal their true abilities. Qiao Jin did not reply. He spread out his hands and stared at them without blinking. He was extremely focused. Yeah, he's crazy. Seeing that Yan Xiaoyi was injured and almost turned into minced meat by those two students from intermediate profound class 2. He went completely crazy. He was already being very rational by not killing the two students on the spot. His fingers curled up one by one. He closed his eyes, and the flames on his body suddenly dissipated. When he opened his eyes again, he looked at the two students who were being carried off the stage by the doctors and asked in a trembling voice, I did it. After all, they had been friends for many years. Yan Xiaoyi saw through Qiao Jin's plan with one look. She immediately agreed and raised her voice. Yes, you eliminated two students. When did you become so powerful? I don't know. Qiao Jin was at a loss. He retracted both his hands with a look of disbelief on his face. This situation made the onlookers, who were originally very excited, also quiet down. Could it be that the energy that devil class had unleashed earlier was merely an explosion of rage? Chapter 1144. The potential of humans was beyond human imagination. In a moment of rage, in a moment of crisis, etc. In order to protect themselves or protect someone or something, they would erupt with strength that was several times, 100 times, or even 1,000 times stronger than usual. It was all because of a belief. Of course, after the eruption, the profound practitioner's own strength would also be exhausted in that instant. Just now, was it because the devil class students were desperate for survival, that's why they exploded with such a strong force and eliminated 2 students from the intermediate profound class too? That was the only excuse. Only then could it make those onlookers who didn't have high hopes for the devil class feel a little better. Trash students of devil class, how could they have such strong and dense profound energy? No matter how he thought about it, it was impossible. Yes, they could only accept the Survival Valley's unexpected outburst. On the stage, Xiao Jin did not have much time to spare, so he continued his performance. Although 2 students had been eliminated, the score was now 8-9. However, it was unable to change the situation on the stage. The student who had been attacking Long Yunzhan with Shengguan Liuli had already retreated, the large blade in his hand directly slashing towards Xiao Jin's face. Profound practitioners would exhaust all of their strength after erupting. Take advantage of this moment to injure Xiao Jin. They could directly eliminate Xiao Jin from the competition. Yan Xiaoyi caught a glimpse of the long saber, which was clearly overflowing with a treacherous and cold yin qi. Her heart tightened. If he allowed this weapon, which had been eroded by the mysterious yin qi, to cut his skin, it was highly possible that the mystical yin qi was channeled into his body through his wounds and blood. She quickly wrapped her arms around Xiao Jin's firm waist. Extending his feet, he was about to display the set of footwork that Yi Qing Luo had taught him. However, Xiao Jin's speed was faster than her. In just a moment, the 2 of them had already used that set of footwork to quickly disappear in front of the attacking student. How could I let you protect me? A low and hoarse voice rang beside Yan Xiaoyi's ears. Yan Xiaoyi's eyelashes trembled slightly, her delicate body, which was being hugged tightly by the man's arm, stiffened slightly. He didn't need her protection. What he wanted was the protection of another person. She looked down to hide the pain in her eyes. Suddenly feeling the downcast mood of the person in his arms, Xiao Jin furrowed his brows and lowered his eyes in confusion. He was saying sweet nothings. It was a serious flirtatious remark. Normally, when a girl heard this, wouldn't she throw herself into his arms shyly? Why was it that when it came to Yan Xiaoyi, it made her feel conflicted towards him? Xiao Jin, who had a baffled look on his face, had no time to think. The next wave of attacks had already arrived. A bunch of trash, but their willpower is quite strong. Shengguan Liuli looked at the situation. Even though she had lost 2 students, she did not panic. In any case, in this match, Intermediate Profound Class 2 would definitely win. Now, she was not using her full strength. He just wanted to torture the devil class. He could defeat the devil class in minutes. After going through so much trouble with the devil class, they had fought till the very end in exhaustion. When they thought that they would be able to win, the tables were turned in one move. Which one was more painful to the point of wishing for death? Shengguan Liuli sneered, still waiting for Yi Qing Luo, that little slut, to return. Hearing Yi Qing Luo's name, the eyes of the usually expressionless Long Yunzhan flickered slightly. The long sword in his hand swept up a blue wave of air as his attacks were swift and fierce. Shengguan Liuli quickly dodged. His figure was like a ghost. Chapter 1145. Long Yunzhan's eyes suddenly turned cold and frosty. The long sword in his hand was also stained with a thick chill. He directly flicked away the dagger that was close to him and flipped the long sword. The blue sword qi shone brilliantly. A cracking sound was heard. The double-blade dagger suddenly broke. The black qi dispersed. Shengguan Liuli's expression sunk as she staggered backwards. Before she could steady herself, she saw that blue sword ray, sweeping out from the long sword. Like a huge blue dragon bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws, it instantly tore a huge pit on the stage between them. The blue dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws, devouring Shangguan Liuli malevolently. Angry. Shangguan Liuli couldn't help but laugh. Your thoughts were exposed and you flew into a rage out of humiliation. She raised the other double-blade dagger, blocking the blue dragon's charge. She raised her leg and stomped hard on the stage, contending against the blue dragon. Unfortunately, little brother, the person you are waiting for, will never return. Shangguan Liuli smiled sinisterly, smiling till her eyebrows curved, looking even more ruthless. The profound yin qi in her body was activated. The palm wind stirred up a violent hurricane. A loud boom sound was heard. Shangguan Liuli had already held the double-blade dagger in her hand, directly cutting that illusory blue dragon into two halves. Shangguan Liuli flew up, laughing venomously. My lord has already arranged everything, waiting for her there. Once she goes over, Yi Qing Luo, that little slut, won't dare to not return. She felt extremely carefree. These people were all Yi Qing Luo's dogs. She wanted to torture these dogs, one by one, until they were crippled. And then bring them in front of Yi Qing Luo. Let her see with her own eyes how she tormented these dogs, bit by bit, to death. The more she thought, the more intense the madness in Shangguan Liuli's eyes became. Long Yunzhan's hand, which was holding the long sword, suddenly stiffened. A trace of coldness, like 10,000 years of ice, flickered in his eyes. The icy cold voice, like frost, every word, was like an icicle, piercing into one's heart. Say it again. After Shangguan Liuli forced Long Yunzhan's illusory blue dragon back, she flew a few steps back. She was extremely leisurely. With her current strength, even if she was alone, it was enough to defeat everyone in Devil class. Even if I repeat it 10 times, 100 times, the truth will still be the same. Shangguan Liuli giggled, thinking of Yi Qing Luo's miserable look when she was tortured by the Lord. The more excited she felt. She was already imagining it. Once the competition was over, he would rush over to the Lord's place. She should be able to let Yi Qing Luo witness with her own eyes how she destroyed everything she had. Even though she knew it was a trap, Yi Qing Luo, that little slut, still went without hesitation. She chuckled with extreme disdain. She can only blame herself for being stupid. Women didn't need any extra feelings. Because once a woman had feelings, she would no longer be decisive and decisive. Therefore, she abandoned her feelings. Her only motive was to be above Yi Qing Luo, to step on her fiercely. He did not hesitate to use his own soul, his own resentment, as a condition for the exchange. In exchange for the help of the dark forces. She liked her current self very much. Strong enough, strong enough. Whether it was the students of the class or the high profound class. After seeing her, the disdain and disgust from before had turned into respect. This was the glory that ability brought to her. A woman like you will never understand. Long Yunzhan's expression was indifferent, as he squinted his sharp blue icy eyes. This wasn't stupid. But because of feelings. Chapter 1146. If the same thing happened to him. The dark forces would use any student of devil class as a threat. Even if he knew that the other party had planned this beforehand and had set up all sorts of traps. He would still go forward without hesitation. Because, if anything happened to the students he cared about, he would live in regret for the rest of his life. Because, he cared about them. This kind of feeling, for a stupid girl like Shangguan Liuli who only knew how to achieve her own goals, she would never understand. She will definitely come back. Long Yunzhan's tone was firm, confident, and without any hesitation. His eyes were cold, his long sword swept. The sword ray blossomed brightly. Ah! Shangguan Liuli's shoulder was pierced by his sudden sword. Her little face instantly turned pale. The blue sword Qi was still lingering on the wound on her shoulder. With a slight movement, it affected her muscles, causing waves of throbbing pain. Damned devil class. How dare they hurt her? Good. Very good. Since the class monitor of devil class wanted to die so much, she would grant them their wish. Let them fall to the ground in a state of despair. Shangguan Liuli's eyes flashed. Rays of profound yin qi wantonly moved from the bottom of her eyes. In an instant, her entire body was covered with thick profound qi. One wave overshadowed the other. One wave overshadowed the other. The entire arena set off huge waves on the outer layer. The air waves were monstrous. Billowing smoke curled up. Below the arena, the spectators who were blocked by the barrier, although they were not affected by the profound qi on the arena. But they could clearly feel the air waves around Shangguan Liuli. How aghast it was. Butler Shangguan, unable to control the excitement in his heart, stood up abruptly, and shouted in amazement, Earth Profound Level 1. Earth Profound Level 2. Earth Profound Level 3. Yes. Shangguan Liuli's profound rank was rising rapidly. One grade after another, it jumped up. It shocked Butler Shangguan so much that he wanted to stand on the table, singing loudly without caring about his image. In the end, Shangguan Liuli's profound rank stopped at Earth Profound Level 5. Her breathing gradually stabilized. Earth Profound Level 5. Earth Profound Level 5. Shangguan Liuli, a student of Intermediate Profound Class 2. He had actually become a 5th grade Earth Xian. Shangguan Liuli's profound rank had been stable at the 5th level of the Earth Profound Realm since the first few rounds of the preliminary round. All of a sudden, it rose 5 ranks in a row. Everyone's jaws dropped in shock. My jaw almost dropped to the ground. What kind of freak is this? The Shangguan clan's 5th young mistress actually possessed such formidable strength. Teacher Ren from Intermediate Profound Class 2 was also stunned. Your Intermediate Profound Class 2 actually has a 5th level Earth Profound Realm student. Why didn't you say so earlier? The High Profound Class 1 teacher nudged the teacher beside him. Earth Profound 5th grade. Their High Profound Class 1 losing to Intermediate Profound Class 2 wasn't an injustice. The teacher of Intermediate Profound Class 2 shook his head in astonishment. I don't know. In Intermediate Profound Class 2's teacher Ren's heart, he actually didn't have a good impression of this capricious and troublemaking 5th Miss Shangguan. The memories of Shangguan Liuli. It also stopped at the time when she formed cliques in the class, and recklessly threw a tantrum. He didn't expect that she was so strong now. As the teacher of a class, he basically checked every student's waist tag every 3 days to confirm the changes in the student's strength. Shangguan Liuli's profound rank, since entering Intermediate Profound Class 2, had been stagnant at Mystic Profound Level 5. Chapter 1147. It was a month ago, after the Academy's vacation. Shangguan Liuli seemed to have an epiphany. There was a qualitative leap in her profound grade. The person was still the willful, arrogant and rude Shangguan Liuli. However, her strength was invisibly matched with her arrogance. Earth Profound Grade. This was the last profound grade that the teacher knew. This was the last profound grade test before setting off from the academy to the West Lawn Square. The academy's wooden token would not have the slightest bit of falsehood. Nor would it conceal the student's profound grade. That was to say, in less than a day, Shangguan Liuli had directly advanced from the early stage of the Earth Profound Realm to the 5th stage of the Earth Profound Realm. No. Impossible. No one could do it in such a short period of time, to advance so many grades in succession. Could it be? Shangguan Liuli's academy wooden token, had a problem. Right. It was very likely that there was a problem with the Academy wooden token. The teacher looked at the arena with trepidation. Intermediate Profound Class 2 was at an advantage, but he didn't feel excited or proud at all. He only felt an extremely strange feeling pervaded the bottom of his heart. On the arena, Long Yun-jan had hidden his strength at this time. But his perceptive ability had far surpassed Shangguan Luli's. As soon as he felt Shangguan Luli's action, he quickly retreated and was not hurt by the force of Shangguan Luli. The long sword fiercely stabbed into the arena. Using the sword as a support, he stabilized his body. Raging winds and huge waves, his azure blue eyes were still clear. Quietly staring at Shangguan Luli, who was still roaring, still shouting, his eyes were cold. Using profound Yin Qi, dark force objects to participate in the competition. This was originally a big taboo in all the competitions in the Nirvana realm. Just like when Yi Qingling used the profound Yin sword to participate in the assessment. It was considered a violation of the rules. Shangguan Liuli and the students of Intermediate Profound Class 2 dared to use it openly in the arena. Because they hid the profound Yin Qi in their bodies. If not for the battle with them, absolutely could not feel the existence of this power. Not right. Even if it was against them, those who did not know would not suspect that the sudden strong power was the profound Yin Qi of the dark force. Shangguan Liuli actually used the Xian Yin Qi to directly raise her Xian rank to the 5th level of the Earth Xian realm. Wasn't she afraid that the elders of the main courtyard would discover the mysterious Yin Qi? Wasn't she worried that this body of hers simply wouldn't be able to withstand the profound strength of the Earth Profound realm? Wasn't she afraid of self-detonation? Shangguan Liuli answered these questions with her own actions. At the 5th grade of the Earth Profound realm, the Qi waves were monstrous. His attacks were decisive and ruthless. It was as if he was a completely different person. They had been replaced by tools controlled by the mysterious Yin energy. A tool to defeat the devil class. Such as Shangguan Liuli, even if the devil class students released their true profound energy, they might not be able to defend against her. Long Yunjian was forced to the edge of the stage several times. Devil class's disadvantage was becoming more and more obvious. However, even if these students were forced to retreat, even if their bodies were riddled with wounds, they would not give up. Every time they arrived at the edge of the arena, they would pounce forward as if they'd gone mad in an attempt to turn the situation around. I will not admit defeat. He would never lose. Long Yunjian could completely restrain Earth Profound Realm cultivators who were at the 5th grade. But the other students in the Devil class could not be compared to the stronger students from the Intermediate Profound Class 2. After a few rounds of fighting, Devil class students only had one belief in their hearts. Chapter 1148. Once she lost, Yi Qing Luo would have to face broken meridians and the blood oath of destroying her profound jade heart. They couldn't afford to lose. Devil class's students became braver the more they fought, without any fear. Even though they were covered in wounds, they climbed up once again to face the attacks from the Intermediate Profound Class 2 students and retaliated. A few of the students had already secretly released their true strength. But this didn't change the situation of Devil class. Long Yunjian and Shangguan Luli were entangled together. Shangguan Liuli, who was at the 5th stage of the Earth Profound Realm, had already become a killing tool. Every move was fatal. Long Yunjian couldn't be like before, fighting with Shangguan Luli while observing the situation of Devil class's students. Below the ring, from the amazement of Shangguan Liuli's sudden rise in profound rank, they were gradually infected by the atmosphere of the desperate battle between the two sides. Finally, they saw Devil class's students. After falling down time and time again, they climbed up again and again, fearlessly charging towards their opponents. No one cried out in pain. No one admitted defeat. Fresh blood oozed out and their faces turned purple. Even so, it couldn't hide the pair of crystal-clear eyes. Determination, faith. Hoarse voices came out from their mouths. They said every word, an oath that touched their hearts. The world is not dead, we will not surrender. This was what countless of them lacked. But today, they saw it in a class that they had always looked down on. The world is not dead, we will not surrender. What kind of willpower did they have to be able to say such words? Her heart inexplicably felt sorry for Devil Class's students. The gaze towards Devil Class was no longer the mockery and ridicule. Especially those students who were originally watching a joke, one by one they stopped talking, their hearts were filled with shock. Acutely sensing the surrounding atmosphere, it was obviously different from the previous passionate worship towards her. Shangguan Liuli looked coldly below the stage, sweeping her gaze around. Even the eyes of the intermediate profound Class 2 students were sparkling with tears, as if they were touched, as they looked deeply at the Devil Class. Just a bunch of trash. On what basis did they win the hearts of the various forces? This was a place that revered power. Without power, even if they could resist, what was the use? What was there to be shocked about? What was there to be touched about? Just a bunch of trash. Anger, burning wantonly. Profound chi surged violently. Boom boom boom, profound energy that hid the sky and covered the earth enveloped the entire arena. The wind howled and the hurricane stirred. The violent collision and explosion of profound energy caused an indescribable shock to rise in one's heart. Ah, bang! The sound of heavy objects landing on the ground was extremely obvious in the tumbling waves. The surrounding Devil Class students were all sent flying to the ground. A few students were unable to withstand Shangguan Liuli's sudden burst of energy. He clutched his chest and spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. All of them lay on the ground, their faces pale. Ha ha ha. A bunch of trash, a bunch of ants. You want to compete with the sun and moon. Shangguan Liuli laughed maniacally. The mysterious yin qi flowing in the depths of his eyes had already covered the whites of his eyes. She didn't try to hide it. There was no need to hide it anymore. What interclass competition? What do you mean by champion? She was not interested. What she wanted was to see Yi Qing Luo suffer for the rest of her life. As long as he could torture these students of Devil Class till they were unrecognizable, then bring them to his lord. In front of Yi Qing Luo, he killed all these people one by one. That was enough. Anyway, her entire life had already been handed over to the dark forces. Don't worry, I will bring all of you who are living a life worse than death to meet that slut Yi Qing Luo. Profound chi, stirred once again. Shangguan Liuli's sleeves tugged and directly rapped the few powerless Devil Class students on the ground. Just at this moment, a bewitching red glow suddenly shot out. Chapter 1149. A few Devil Class students instantly fell onto the ground. Shangguan Liuli missed and her expression sunk. The sinister smile on her face slowly congealed on her face. That red glow was bewitching and glaring. Following that, a flame-like feather fan sped over. Like a leaping flame, it blossomed with the most beautiful splendor in midair. Swoosh swoosh swoosh, the spinning sound of the feather fan drew a deafening piercing sound in the air. It shook the entire arena, causing it to shake continuously. That piercing sound was filled with a biting cold murderous intent. It completely overshadowed all the discussions in the arena, overshadowed the Shangguan family's jubilant cheers. Between heaven and earth, it was as though there was only that voice left. Like thunder, a voice that shook the heaven and earth. The feather fan directly closed in on Shangguan Liuli. A strong aura, instantly enveloped the entire arena. Air waves raged, flames burned wantonly, stacking layer upon layer. Shangguan Liuli instinctively turned sideways, trying to avoid that feather fan's attack. Even without the profound Yin Chi's control, she also wanted to avoid the feather fan. She had a hunch that if she was struck by this feather fan, she would absolutely die. Her feet had just moved. That nearing feather fan suddenly transformed into numerous fangs and claws, roaring angrily. It directly entangled Shangguan Liuli entirely within. This was obviously an illusory fire dragon. But unfortunately, the temperature of the fire dragon was so real. So real that Shangguan Liuli felt that she was about to be roasted. She could even smell the fragrance of meat on her body. The feather fan was still encircling Shangguan Liuli's body, revolving continuously. The air waves stacked, as the imposing manner became stronger and stronger. The entire arena's air was completely controlled by that feather fan. Qing Luo. It's boss Qing Luo. Madam Qing Luo. Joyful voices were heard from those devil class students. Those students who were originally suppressed by Shangguan Liuli's strong imposing manner, all started to climb up, their eyes filled with joy. In devil class's waiting area, all the students had already stood up. Their eyes were filled with joy, some even cried out in agitation. That was Yi Qing Luo's glower flame fan. That powerful energy, familiar and warm. That was Yi Qing Luo's energy. She was back. She really came back safe and sound. They had finally waited for their boss Qing Luo. Hearing devil class's students' wild and ecstatic shouts, everyone's vision was fixed on the red feather fan that had suppressed Shangguan Liuli to the point where she could not resist at all. His heart tightened little by little. He was shocked. He had heard of Yi Qing Luo's powerful ability, heard that Yi Qing Luo possessed the divine dragon and the sacred beast white tiger. How could a 15-year-old girl be so powerful? But seeing it with his own eyes was a different kind of shock. This kind of shock was far more shocking than the news of Shangguan Liuli being a 5th-grade Earth Xian. Shangguan Liuli, who was entangled by the fire dragons, felt as if her consciousness was being devoured by the countless fire dragons. She couldn't breathe. The moment he breathed in, his nostrils were filled with a scorching hot air. She couldn't open her eyes. By the side of her ears, numerous people were shouting Yi Qing Luo's name. Her delicate body, which was unable to move, suddenly stiffened. Yi Qing Luo. How could Yi Qing Luo possibly appear? That woman had fallen into his lord's trap. Wasn't it impossible for that woman to come back alive? Why did she rush over to the competition venue? Numerous fire dragons kept tightening, twisting. Shangguan Liuli, do you want revenge? In her mind, that familiar hoarse voice rang coldly. She shut her eyes in pain. Chapter 1150. This voice clearly knew the desire in her heart. This voice gave her the strength she had now, giving her enough ability to stand here and receive the envious and respectful gazes from everyone. Want revenge? Yes. It was because of her desire for revenge that she had sold her soul to the dark forces without any hesitation. She wanted to obtain powerful strength, to crush Yi Qing Luo under her body, making her unable to turn over. This was her chance to prove herself. This was her chance to make a name for herself. She must not let Yi Qing Luo destroy everything that she had sacrificed her soul for. Yes. I want revenge. I want to destroy Yi Qing Luo, to see her living a life worse than death. A strong hatred filled her body and mind. A burst of profound Yin Qi completely wrapped her up. Power, a steady stream of power, flowed violently in her body. It was the power that she longed for. Shangguan Liuli greedily absorbed that power, expanding her profound qi again and again. Earth Profound 6th grade. What is that? The elder stood up suddenly, pointed to the stage, and his expression changed. That student named Shangguan Liuli, how dare she cheat in the competition? Such a dense dark aura brought with it a chill that made one's hair stand on end. Thinking back to the dark forces that had been spreading in the Nirvana realm in the past few days, the elder's face sunk. What a great heavenly academy! For a competition, they didn't hesitate to make a deal with the dark forces. No matter how I look, I feel that there is something wrong with this student, Shangguan Liuli, a young girl. How could she burst from the Earth Profound realm to the Earth Profound 5th grade in an instant? Shangguan family is too much. How dare she cheat in front of our elder? Is she disregarding the headquarters, disregarding the other academies, disregarding the various forces? Intermediate Profound Class 2 disqualified. The academy does not accept any form of cheating in the competition. The elder gritted his teeth, filled with righteous indignation. The student dared to cheat in front of them. Obviously she did not put the headquarters in their eyes. Elders, calm down. This student absolutely would not be so silly to cheat in front of you. There must be a reason behind this. The director panicked, cursing Shangguan Liuli in his heart for not being able to control the profound yin qi because of anger, ruining his plan. Now that things had already happened, he had to think of a way to remedy it. What else is there to say? This old man saw it with my own eyes. How can it be fake? The dean wiped off the cold sweat on his forehead. Look, just now the devil class students were so defeated that they couldn't even put up a fight. How could they suddenly be able to move? And, isn't student Yiqing Luo back? At this point, he stopped talking. The best way was to stop where it was appropriate. Sure enough, one of the elders from the main institute furrowed his brows and nodded thoughtfully. Indeed. Since Shangguan Liuli is cheating, how could she be so foolish as to show it in front of everyone without holding anything back? On the contrary, classmate Yi. His gaze surveyed the surroundings but he didn't see Yiqing Luo at all. Yiqing Luo had suddenly returned. Shangguan Liuli unleashed the power of the dark forces. How could things be so coincidental? In the direction of the general courtyard, everyone was already arguing with their own opinions. A clear and melodious voice, like pearls falling onto a plate, sweet and melodious, devil classes Yiqing Luo, returns. Dressed in a fiery red robe, he drew a beautiful afterglow in the sky. Chapter 1151. The strong airwave wantonly blew against the young lady's skirt. 3,000 black hair swayed along with the wind, as though stepping on a bunch of cherry red petals, stepping on the air. The young lady slowly landed on the arena. Following that, she raised her arm high. That glower flame fan which was revolving around Shangguan Liuli, flew a few rounds and returned to her palm. Her slender fair fingers, one by one, gripped the glower flame fan tightly. As it blended with that red flame, it looked especially captivating. The entire West Lake Square seemed as though it had been rehearsed previously. It fell into a dead silence. No one opened their mouth to speak. It was Yiqing Luo. She was back. This devil class's students, treated as their faith, even if she was riddled with scars, they still had to hang on. This genius young lady who was discussed by various forces, who wanted to rope her in, wanted to subdue her. This mysterious and powerful existence. She rushed back at the most crucial moment of the competition. This competition, could there be room for a reversal? Numerous people's hearts, inexplicably surged with a firm belief. It seemed like Yiqing Luo rushed back in time. She definitely had this ability to reverse the situation. Obviously, the majority of the various forces did not know Yiqing Luo's ability, and only felt that the matter of Yi Qing Luo subduing the divine dragon's sacred beast was merely an exaggeration. But unfortunately, after seeing Yi Qing Luo, they inexplicably believed that Yi Qing Luo had this ability. Perhaps it was because they were infected by Devil Class's strong willpower, or perhaps they were infected by Devil Class's spirit. Devil Class firmly believed in Yi Qing Luo. They also subconsciously firmly believed in Yi Qing Luo. This was a kind of spirit. A kind of, enough to subdue numerous cultivators' spirit. In the direction of the main courtyard, the silent, senior MO, looked calmly at Yi Qing Luo. That blossoming cherry blossom, that enchanting figure, made him frown slightly. His vision subconsciously swept towards Devil Class's waiting area. Indeed, in the crowd, he discovered that half-masked, dressed in purple robe man, elegantly leaning against the wooden chair, showing a languid expression. The expressionless face finally heaved a sigh of relief. She finally rushed back. In the end, Di Zun had successfully brought her back. In the arena, after Yi Qing Luo kept the glower flame fan, the fire dragon which was coiling around Shangguan Liuli also gradually dispersed. Shangguan Liuli gasped for air, and her legs gave way as she fell to the ground. The sinister eyes that were suffused with black qi stared coldly at Yi Qing Luo. He was in such a sorry state, yet he refused to admit defeat. Yi Qing Luo sneered, the corners of her lips curled into an enchanting arc, revealing a trace of gloomy chill. Just based on you, you dare to call yourself Sun Moon. She slowly walked towards Shangguan Liuli. He lifted his leg and stepped on Shangguan Liuli's chest. He exerted a little force. Shangguan Liuli let out a muffled groan, and her body fell heavily to the ground. She did not have the strength to resist. Today, in front of all the powerhouses, I will tell you how the brilliance of my Devil Class students pierces your eyes. He was exerting force and moving his toes on her chest bit by bit. Pain, a heart-wrenching pain, came from his chest. His internal organs seemed to have been trampled into meat paste by Yi Qing Luo's feet. She spat out blood, painfully struggling to avoid Yi Qing Luo's feet. Painful. Yi Qing Luo's brows rose, smiling like a flower. Painful is right, you will be in more pain soon. Shangguan Liuli wanted to torture Devil Class students to a living hell. Then, she would fulfill Shangguan Liuli's evil interest. Living a life worse than death, right? Chapter 1152. Shangguan Liuli was in so much pain that she had no strength to struggle. The direction that Yi Qing Luo stepped on was coincidentally her heart. Yi Qing Luo fiercely suppressed the profound jade heart. Shangguan Liuli did not even have the strength to circulate her profound qi. If she insisted on circulating her profound qi, I'm afraid Yi Qing Luo would not hesitate to crush her heart. Why did Yi Qing Luo rush back to take part in the competition? Didn't the Lord say that as long as Yi Qing Luo went to rescue Yi Fengyu, it would be a one-way trip? Why, but Yi Qing Luo appeared here. He had arrived at the most crucial moment. Due to the sudden increase in her Xianyin qi, her profound level continued to rise. It completely disrupted her rhythm of absorbing the mysterious Yin qi. It also caused the Xianyin qi in her body to be completely disrupted. Otherwise, how would Yi Qing Luo have the chance to step on her chest? Yi Qing Luo. You dare. You dare to do this in front of so many people. Shangguan Liuli's voice was hoarse as she saw the murderous intent in Yi Qing Luo's eyes. She didn't want to die. Before Yi Qing Luo died, she didn't want to die. There were elders from the main institute and representatives from the various powers and academies. She didn't believe that Yi Qing Luo dared to kill her under everyone's watchful eyes. Yi Qing Luo smiled even more enchanting. So what if I kill you? Intermediate Profound Class 2's Shengguan Liuli colluded with the Dark Forces and attempted to bring the Dark Forces into the Academy's territory. Furthermore, she assisted the Dark Forces and harmed the Academy's interests for the Dark Forces. Furthermore, she deceived the Academy's headquarters. I'm doing this for the sake of the people. Why can't I? Her words were spoken slowly and calmly. His voice wasn't loud, but everyone on the dueling ring could hear him clearly. As well as the elders of the General Academy. Shengguan Liuli lay stiffly on the ground. The black chi in her eyes was like black smoke, flowing continuously in her pupils. Hatred, resentment, jealousy, all kinds of emotions shot out from her eyes. You're talking nonsense. Shengguan Liuli suppressed the fear in her heart. She controlled the mystical yin qi very well. Even if she used the mystical yin qi to raise her profound rank in a short period of time, she still controlled it very well. It was impossible for the old men in the headquarters to discover her connection with the dark forces. At this moment, Shengguan Liuli didn't notice at all. Black smoke-like energy had already spilled out of her eyes. Strand by strand, they wrapped around her body. This was the profound yin qi, helping her to resist Yi Qing Luo's restraint. Once Shengguan Liuli's profound jade heart was suppressed by Yi Qing Luo's feet. Shengguan Liuli had no room to retaliate. The outcome of this match would soon be revealed. Shengguan Liuli could not lose. At this moment, the students from both sides who were still in the arena had already climbed up from the ground. Intermediate Profound Class 2, including Shengguan Liuli, there were still 6 students left. Devil Class, including Yi Qing Luo, there were a total of 10 students. However, there were already 3 students whose internal organs had been shaken by Shengguan Liuli's profound stage aura, and they had lost the ability to fight. They supported each other as they stood behind Yi Qing Luo, looking at each other. Go back and rest. Yi Qing Luo glanced sideways as her peripheral vision shot a glance at the pale-faced Long Yunzhan. She looked away, and a trace of anger flashed through her eyes. They clearly had the strength to withstand the attacks from Shengguan Liuli and the rest of the Intermediate Profound Class 2 students. Why did he have to make himself look like this? Hiding their strength was indeed the suggestion that she had suggested earlier. But compared to hiding their strength and exploding their strength to slap those people who looked down on them, their safety was the most important, alright? It was actually because of her suggestion earlier. This group of people actually hid their strength, even at the last moment, they didn't explode. Chapter 1153. Inexplicably, her eyes felt a little warm. She pursed her lips and lowered her voice. After the competition ends, all of you will receive your punishment. Long Yunzhan and the rest were stunned. Originally they wanted to refuse to leave the stage, not wanting Yi Qing Luo to fight alone. But after hearing Yi Qing Luo's words, all the words of rejection were stuck in their throats. Long Yunzhan clenched his fists tightly as his gaze swept past those students who couldn't even stand properly. Finally, he lowered his eyelids and said calmly, "All the best." Saying that, he turned around and leapt off the stage without looking back. The class monitor had already jumped off the stage to forfeit the competition, the other students naturally followed suit. This action made the crowd a little puzzled. Is the devil class going to give up? Why are all of them jumping off the stage? Hasn't their belief, Yi Qing Luo, that genius young lady, rushed back? Why are they still forfeiting? Don't tell me they are all scared silly by the Intermediate Profound Class 2's ability and don't dare to continue the battle. Numerous questioning voices were extremely clear in the crowd. The more they said, the more they got the support of numerous people. They were all certain that Devil Class students were terrified and didn't dare to continue the battle, so all of them fled. Isn't Yi Qing Luo still standing on the stage? Looking at the current situation, Devil class obviously has the upper hand. Don't tell me. Yiqing Luo wants to fight 1 against 6. Seems like Yiqing Luo intends to do that. Devil class students had already jumped off the stage and returned to the waiting area, whereas Yiqing Luo was still standing on the stage alone. According to the preliminary round rules, as long as there was a class of students on the stage, then that class wouldn't lose. Which meant to say, as long as Yiqing Luo fought 1 against 6 and defeated Shengguan Liuli and the other 5 students from Intermediate Profound Class 2, she would still be the winner of the 3rd round. Is Yiqing Luo looking for a beating? Didn't the Academy say earlier that the Profound Chi released by 5th Miss Shengguan is already an Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator? Yiqing Luo seems to be an Earth Profound 4th grade cultivator? The difference between 2 grades. As long as 5th Miss Shengguan has a chance to stand up, Yiqing Luo has no chance to retaliate. Everyone was guessing the situation on the stage. Above the 6th grade of the Mystic Profound Realm, it was extremely difficult to advance even 1 grade. Not to mention the Earth Profound Realm, which could be counted as an expert. It was very likely that an ordinary person would be stuck for 10 or 20 years and still not be able to successfully advance a grade. Earth Profound 4th grade Yiqing Luo was very powerful. But Earth Profound 6th grade Shengguan Liuli could obviously rely on the difference of 2 grades to completely crush Yiqing Luo. No pressure at all. Yiqing Luo was the first to stipulate that she was not allowed to use her Battle Pets clan leader in this competition. No wonder Yiqing Luo directly stepped on Shengguan Liuli's profound jade heart the moment she came up. He had no choice but to admit that Yiqing Luo's reaction and decisiveness was indeed admirable. Just as the crowd were discussing fervently, feeling that Yiqing Luo's stomp was just right. But he saw Yiqing Luo slowly moving her feet away. Moved away. The onlookers were dumbfounded. Holy shit. This was the only way to suppress Shengguan Liuli. Why did she give up on it? Could it be that she had overheard their discussion and felt that she had an unfair advantage, so she wanted to defeat Shengguan Liuli fair and square? This young lady. Was she crazy? Letting go of Shengguan Liuli was equivalent to sending herself to death. Why was this young lady so stubborn? Chapter 1154. Yiqing Luo didn't seem to understand the cries of the onlookers and couldn't wait to rush up the stage to stop her from releasing her leg. She looked calm as she released her grip on Shengguan Liuli's chest and turned back to the other side of the stage, widening the distance between the two. The moment the suppression of the profound jade heart was released, Shengguan Liuli quickly got up from the ground and stuck close to the direction of the students from the Intermediate Profound Class 2. Looking up, what came into view was Yiqing Luo's dashing back. Shengguan Liuli frowned. Yiqing Luo deliberately let her go. But, why? Yiqing Luo had no reason to do so. He chased his helper off the stage and loosened his grip on her. It was as the onlookers guessed. Yiqing Luo wanted to fight 1 against 6. Yiqing Luo was looking down on her. The darkness in Shengguan Liuli's eyes became more and more intense. A surge of anger rose from the bottom of her heart. Great! Yiqing Luo. Since you don't know what's good for you, if I don't beat you till you kneel and beg for mercy, my reputation will be ruined. My name is not Shengguan Liuli. Shengguan Liuli secretly said in her heart. Immediately, Shengguan Liuli clenched the only remaining double-edged dagger, her figure flashed and directly stuck close to Yiqing Luo's back. The double-edged dagger was injected with profound yin qi and a black mist lingered around the dagger, flickering with a cold glint. It went straight to Yiqing Luo's back and then swiped across her neck. This strike carried the aura around Shengguan Liuli, thick and tyrannical. Earth Profound 6th grade Profound grade, fully released, the terrifying aura was enough to make people tremble. If this strike fell on Yiqing Luo, Yiqing Luo would die without a doubt. The onlookers' faces immediately turned solemn and were all astonished as they looked nervously at the situation on the stage. Even if they could see that something was wrong with Shangguan Liuli, they could see that something was wrong with Shangguan Liuli's profound grade. Moreover, Shangguan Liuli's change was obviously related to the dark forces. But before the director stopped the competition and disqualified Shangguan Liuli from the competition. The competition on the stage was a competition. No one could stop it on the stage. Otherwise, it would be disrespecting the Heavenly Academy's competition system. Just when everyone's hearts were trembling with fear and anxiety, the young girl, whose back was facing Shangguan Liuli, suddenly stopped in her tracks. Shangguan Liuli's double-edged dagger was already stuck to Yiqing Luo's fair neck. Shangguan Liuli sneered, a black aura flowing in her eyes. How dare she stop in her tracks? Was he in such a hurry to die? Shangguan Liuli's hand rubbed down hard, a touch. He missed. The girl whose neck had been cut by her double-edged dagger was nowhere to be seen. Shangguan Liuli's face immediately turned aghast, and she quickly reacted by raising her dagger and slashing it towards the side of her body. A beautiful afterimage flashed past his eyes. Yiqing Luo's enchanting figure stopped a few steps away from her. The corners of his mouth curled into a mocking smile. Student Shangguan, who is at the 6th level of the Earth Profound Realm, is only so-so. A clear and melodious laughter, with a thick sense of ridicule, rang out in the surroundings. His words were clearly heard by the onlookers. The onlookers, holy shit. Miss, do you need to be so unreasonable? The opponent was an Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator. She would be beaten to death if she was so unreasonable. However, Yiqing Luo was unreasonable, and getting more and more unreasonable. Her figure suddenly made a somersault in the air. A foot landed on Shangguan Liuli's chest. Chapter 1155. Afraid of Shangguan Liuli. Afraid of an Earth Profound 6th grade Shangguan Liuli. Stop joking. She could even exchange blows with a Sky Mystic Overlord's Wolf Saint technique. Why would she be afraid of a Shangguan Liuli? If it was a real Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator standing in front of her, Yiqing Luo would definitely perk up and face the battle seriously. But Shangguan Liuli's profound grade was completely pushed up by profound Yin Qi. No matter how high her profound grade was or how strong her power was. But Shangguan Liuli herself was a waste. Shangguan Liuli had no way to control such a strong power. For example, you're a newbie, controlling a max-leveled main account. Battling against a small account who was 10 over 20 levels lower than you. Although under the suppression of the level and equipment, you could easily reduce the other party's health by half. But the other party was a small account who relied on real skills to rise up. She could totally use her skills and positioning to crush your main account. Now, Yiqing Luo was the same. No matter how high Shangguan Liuli's profound grade was, she could use Earth Profound 6th grade profound energy to attack her. But to Yiqing Luo, there was no need to care. In her eyes, Shangguan Liuli was merely a scum. Releasing the suppression of Shangguan Liuli's profound jade heart was indeed a choice she made after hearing the surrounding crowd's discussions. But it wasn't because she felt that she had an unfair advantage and wanted to defeat Shangguan Liuli openly. But her motive wasn't just to let Shangguan Liuli suffer a crushing defeat. What did Shangguan Liuli care about the most? Wasn't it reputation, status, and ability? Shangguan Liuli wanted to become a person above the masses, to be envied and revered by the masses. Then what she needed to do was to destroy the things that Shangguan Liuli cared about bit by bit. Setting up a blood oath with Shangguan Liuli was like this. Shangguan Liuli cooperated with the dark forces because of her. But unfortunately, Shangguan Liuli wanted to lay her hands on the people around her. Manipulating Long Yunzhan to lay his hands on her, injuring Yan Xiaoyi, trying to incite a civil war in the world group. The people who humiliated her, the people who bullied her. Today on the stage, she injured the devil class's students to such a state. Shangguan Liuli. She wanted to turn her name into a joke today. She would let Shangguan Liuli have a good taste of what it was like to be unable to live or die. Shangguan Liuli let out a blood-curdling scream as her body was sent flying by the kick. His entire body fell heavily on the arena, causing the arena to explode into countless fragments. Insta-kill. It was just a simple kick, and Shangguan Liuli was sent flying. The onlookers were dumbfounded. The onlookers were stunned. In any case, Shangguan Liuli was a level 6 Earth Profound Xian practitioner. How on earth did Yiqing Luo avoid Shangguan Liuli's dagger? Her speed was actually faster than Shangguan Liuli. And he could easily kick Shangguan Liuli away. This girl, actually, it's not just a mere Earth Profound 4th grade Profound rank, right? Hearing the gasps from the crowd, as well as the disdainful gazes that landed on him, he felt a chill run down his spine. The taut string in Shangguan Liuli's mind snapped. Her little face contorted into a hideous grimace. Her eyes were filled with black mist. Yiqing Luo. I'm going to kill you. Shangguan Liuli's body was like a swift and violent wild cat, as she sprung up from the ground. The dagger in her hand slashed towards Yiqing Luo's face without a care for her life. But Yiqing Luo only looked at her with a smile. That smile was filled with provocation and ridicule. Chapter 1156. Boss Qing Luo. Devil Class's students clenched their fists as they stood up anxiously, their eyes filled with worry. Even though they knew how powerful Yiqing Luo was. But Shangguan Liuli was after all an Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator who possessed profound Yin Qi. If Shangguan Liuli played dirty and their boss Qing Luo was injured, what should they do? Looking at Shangguan Liuli waving her dagger at Yiqing Luo several times, the dagger was close to Yiqing Luo's fatal spot several times. Their hearts started to tremble uncontrollably. Who will win this duel? At the devil class's waiting area, all the class monitors or representatives from the other classes had gathered. After seeing devil class and intermediate profound class 2, 9 against 10. The students' views towards devil class had changed. Dong Huanglang grabbed Qi Yijing's arm tightly as he said worriedly, Shangguan Liuli is an Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator, and something is obviously wrong with her. Student Yi has no advantage in this battle. Don't look at the current situation, Yiqing Luo had crushed Shangguan Liuli. But Shangguan Liuli's profound grade rose sharply at irregular intervals and burst out powerful profound qi at irregular intervals, defeating the people on the stage. Yiqing Luo would always be at a disadvantage. Intermediate profound class 1's monitor rubbed his chin. Student Shangguan's ability to increase her profound grade at irregular intervals should have stopped. If he was able to continuously increase his profound strength without any restrictions. It was simply too heaven-defying. Even if the director didn't say anything. All the students were going to join hands and strongly demand an end to this unfair competition. Qing Luo will never fight a battle she has no confidence in. Long Yunzhan's cold voice suppressed the crowd's discussion. Since she asked us to give up, she must have the confidence to win. The students were stunned as they nodded their heads. Indeed so. Yiqing Luo would never do something she had no confidence in. Since she dared to do it, she must have 100% confidence or had thought of a foolproof plan. So what if Shangguan Liuli's profound grade rose sharply? Yiqing Luo would definitely win. And at this moment, Yiqing Luo, who had a faint smile on her face, calmly looked at the dagger which was heading towards her. The dagger's black chi swirled like a hurricane, bringing along a wild wave of air. Yiqing Luo's smile became sweeter as the strong wind blew her hair and her red robe. Her face, which was already beautiful enough to topple cities, was now even more captivating. Breathtaking, stunning beauty. Shengguan Liuli's eyes were filled with black qi as a strong killing intent and battle intent surged out from her body. Shengguan Liuli's only thought at this moment was to kill Yiqing Luo. Destroy Yiqing Luo's current breathtaking look. The dagger was infused with mysterious yin qi. The power of the earth profound 6th grade was fully unleashed as it slashed towards Yiqing Luo's face. Clang! The dagger trembled and a sharp glint appeared. An enchanting red light pierced Shengguan Liuli's eyes. In front of him, the glowing flame fan had blocked Shengguan Liuli's double-edged dagger. From the looks of it, it was just a casual move. However, Shengguan Liuli was suppressed to the point that the dagger could not move forward at all. A twisted wrath appeared on his malevolent face. Shengguan Liuli tightened her fingers and increased the mysterious yin qi on the dagger. Her entire body was filled with a terrifying power. With a flick of her fingers, the dagger flashed past the bottom of the glower flame fan and pierced towards Yiqing Luo. But unexpectedly, Yiqing Luo seemed to have predicted her next move. At the same time as she flipped, the devouring flame fan in Yiqing Luo's hands also opened downwards at the same time. Coincidentally, it blocked Shengguan Liuli's dagger attack once again. Chapter 1157. Pft! Fresh blood spurted out from Shengguan Liuli's mouth. Like a rain of blood, it splattered on the arena. Her body, once again, was like a kite with a broken string, smashing heavily onto the ground. Shengguan Liuli coughed in pain. Every time she coughed, the blood from her heart filled her mouth. Blood spilled out from the corner of her mouth. Shengguan Liuli was battered and exhausted. Yiqing Luo still had a smile on her face, in a carefree manner. At this moment, Yiqing Luo appeared to be even more stunning. The crowd had already been crushed by this scene, as they screamed out in shock. The moment Yiqing Luo went up on stage, she directly crushed Earth Profound 6th grade Shengguan Liuli, till nothing was left. How strong was Yiqing Luo? No wonder Yiqing Luo asked her injured classmates to give up first. She was wild, she was arrogant. Why? Because Yiqing Luo had the right to be arrogant and arrogant. It was just a matter of minutes for her to crush an Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator. The crowd's eyes were burning. Many of the powerhouse's representatives, the Academy's representatives, were emitting a burning feeling in their eyes. If it was possible, she really wanted to cross hands with Yiqing Luo, to see how strong her ability was. Shengguan Liuli was kicked several times, her hair disheveled, like an evil spirit, battered and exhausted. Her heart was already filled with shock. But most of it was the growing hatred towards Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo did it on purpose. Yiqing Luo was intentionally humiliating her, making her lose face in front of the crowd. Yiqing Luo would not kill her easily. Instead, he used such a method to continuously humiliate her, causing her to be so embarrassed in front of the eyes of the public. Shengguan Liuli couldn't believe it. She was an Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator. How could she be abused by Yiqing Luo? Obviously. Before Yiqing Luo appeared, she was the overlord who controlled the arena. She was the goddess in everyone's eyes. She could see everyone's envy and admiration towards her in everyone's eyes. After this battle, her innate talent could totally enter the class of gods, and be envied by everyone. But Yiqing Luo's appearance made Shengguan Liuli completely realize that the power which she was so proud of, was simply a joke. Are you surprised that an Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator is unable to defeat me, an Earth Profound 4th grade cultivator? Yiqing Luo raised her brows and smiled provocatively. Shangguan Liuli raised her eyes in shock, not understanding how Yiqing Luo could guess her thoughts. She covered the sharp pain in her chest and forced herself to stand up. All his willpower was placed on the hatred towards Yiqing Luo. The power of this hatred was enough to make a spoiled young lady like her throw away all the arrogance and willfulness she once had. Only for one purpose. 1. The motive of killing Yiqing Luo. Facing Shangguan Liuli's undisguised hatred and dense murderous intent, Yiqing Luo smiled calmly. Her long and narrow eyes shone with a captivating luster. Because he has the power of a 6th-level Earth Profound realm, but it's just a useless body. No matter how strong his power is, the person who uses it is trash. The power of a 6th-level Earth Profound realm is also trash. She paused, her smile was brilliant, unparalleled. Her eyes swept across the stage, those few students who were already stunned on the spot, not knowing what to do. Pardon my bluntness. She enunciated each and every word clearly. I'm not targeting anyone, I mean, everyone on the stage, are all trash. One sentence made the crowd fall into a dead silence. Chapter 1158. Dumbstruck and astonished gazes were fixed on Yiqing Luo. What was Yiqing Luo saying? Not only had she humiliated Shangguan Liuli, she had also humiliated the entire class too. The crowd roared in their hearts and almost wanted to rush up the stage to poke Yiqing Luo's brain and ask her what was she thinking about. On the stage, there were 5 students from the Intermediate Profound Class 2. They had been silent all this while, allowing Yiqing Luo to humiliate Shangguan Liuli again and again. That was because they were shocked, so they didn't make a move. Yiqing Luo actually took the initiative to provoke those students. This was forcing those students to perform a gang fight. They knew that Yiqing Luo was arrogant, But they had not expected Yiqing Luo to be so arrogant, so presumptuous. That was simply out of the world. Just as the crowd had expected. After being ridiculed by Yiqing Luo that they were a bunch of trash, the students from the Intermediate Profound Class 2 regained their senses and revealed an angry expression as they stared at Yiqing Luo. Their muscles tensed up and their fists clenched. Each of them gritted their teeth, wishing they could tear Yiqing Luo into pieces. In their minds, they kept repeating Yiqing Luo's words of trash. Because of their successive victories, their arrogance and conceit had been humiliated by Yiqing Luo till not even dregs were left. How could they tolerate this? So what if Yiqing Luo was powerful? Even if Shangguan Liuli was unable to display the full power of an Earth Profound 6th grade, so what? They had Shangguan Liuli. And she had the profound Yin Qi on her. 6 of them, would they be afraid of surrounding an Earth Profound 4th grade Yiqing Luo? Go! For the Intermediate Profound Class 2 to obtain victory in the preliminary round. Let that arrogant girl have a good look at our Intermediate Profound Class 2's ability. Rubbish. Your whole family are rubbish. The students from the Intermediate Profound Class 2 exchanged glances and at the same time, they attacked Yiqing Luo. Strong profound qi broke out of their bodies. The air waves around them turned into a huge whirlpool. Mixed with the profound Yin Qi's cold qi, it was a strong force that almost destroyed the stage. In an instant, the stage collapsed and the gravel and wood shavings flew everywhere once again. The students from the Intermediate Profound Class 2 had been transformed by the profound Yin Qi. Not only had their profound grades increased tremendously, even his own attack had been enhanced. The 5 students formed an encirclement, trapping Yiqing Luo in the middle. They gripped the weapons in their hands tightly, and their eyes were filled with intense anger. The air seemed to freeze under the combined attack of the 5 people. Qing Luo's character is indeed very pure. Qiao Jin wiped off his cold sweat, provoking the enemy without saying a word. 1 against 6 at the slightest disagreement. They didn't even think about how worried their group of brothers were when they were sitting at the side and watching. Those 5 students from Intermediate Profound Class 2 had already made a deal with the dark forces. They had clearly felt the power of those students just now. If it were them, they would be surrounded by 5 people at the same time. Even if he didn't die, he would be crippled. As for Qing Luo, she was still smiling and standing in the same place without the slightest change in expression. Her eyes were curved and her expression was indifferent. He didn't seem to care about the attacks of the 5 students at all. Immediately, the 5 students' fighting spirit was aroused. The flames on his body surged once more. Qing Luo smiled sweetly like a flower. You guys overestimate yourselves. Her cold voice and arrogant words reverberated around the entire stage. The feather fan between her fingers suddenly flipped over in her palm. Like a ball of burning flame, it spun around in her palm. The feather fan opened up and gave off a shocking red glow. In a split second, the surroundings were covered with hot air. Chapter 1159. The glower flame fan in Qing Luo's hand seemed to have a soul of its own. With a few twirls, it headed straight for the chests of the 5 students who were surrounding and attacking him. A strong aura surged into the sky. As the feather fan moved, burst out a burst of a swoosh swoosh sound. Under the revolutions. Because of inertia, after the 5 students were brushed past by the glower flame fan, they all staggered and fell onto the ground. Buzz buzz, bam, a deafening explosion sounded, causing the surroundings of the arena to explode into dust. The surrounding was covered in white, the spectators couldn't see clearly. But Qing Luo, who was in the dust, could see it clearly. Just as the glower flame fan brushed past the 5 students, Shengguan Luli, who was originally lying on the ground, leaped up. Holding the double-edged dagger in her hand, she took the opportunity to sneak an attack. This strike was obviously the real power which was brought out after the profound Yin Qi was reintegrated. It was thick and powerful, and it caused people to be astonished. If it was any other devil class students, they would not be able to avoid this move. Qing Luo's reaction was extremely swift. She immediately raised her hand, and called back the glower flame fan which was still revolving in midair. She flipped her hand, and swiftly blocked the dagger. The alluring red glow and that piercing silver light collided fiercely. The strong profound Yin Qi took the opportunity to swiftly coil around Qing Luo's wrist. The black smoke-like profound Yin Qi, with an extremely fast speed, swallowed Qing Luo's arm. Qing Luo frowned slightly. This profound Yin Qi wanted to take the opportunity to swallow her. She really didn't change. Qing Luo's eyes turned cold, as the feather fan flipped once again. The alluring red glow, from the place where the 2 of them collided, overflowed once again. In an instant it swallowed the profound Yin Qi into the red glow. Shengguan Luli's expression changed greatly. She immediately retracted her hand, trying to avoid Qing Luo's counterattack. But that smear of red glow was even more powerful than the profound Yin Qi. It could totally suppress the profound Yin Qi, to the extent that she was unable to release the profound Yin Qi. Qing Luo. How could she possibly have a way to suppress the profound Yin Qi? Profound Yin Qi. Wasn't it the same as the legend? Was there no way to break it? Why was it that Qing Luo was able to use her profound Qi to restrain the dark force's profound lunar secret method to the extent that it was unable to be displayed? This was the reason why Qing Luo totally disregarded her. Shengguan Liuli was shocked. The crowd went crazy. Everyone's blood was stirred up by this exciting duel. Even they, who were outside the barrier, could feel the powerful aura. On the general courtyard side, other than Senior Mo, the other three elders all stood up as they looked at Yiqing Luo agitatedly. The dean and the elders immediately stood up as well. His face was filled with worry. However, there was a trace of hostility hidden in the dean's eyes. Shangguan Liuli, that trash. He actually made a mess of things. Not only did he not get rid of the devil class. Instead, he had exposed his identity and dragged the dark forces into this. If the Heavenly Academy was implicated, his position as the dean would be in jeopardy. Shangguan Liuli, from the first day we entered the academy, you viewed me as your enemy. However, since you are trash, I have never taken you seriously. Yiqing Luo spoke calmly, as her gaze turned cold. If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. Especially those who offend the people around me, repeatedly hurting my brothers by my side. Her pink lips curled into a smile. Chapter 1160. Bam bam bam, following Yiqing Luo's words. A deafening roar pierced through the sky. The energy waves and smoke filled the entire arena. The crowd couldn't see clearly what had happened on the arena. Silence reigned. There was dead silence. The crowd's gaze kept searching around the arena. They wanted to know who was the one who burst out such a strong aura and defeated the opponent. Bam! Another explosion rang out. The entire arena exploded with a loud bang. The arena, which occupied 1/3 of the West Square, collapsed. Collapsed. The arena actually collapsed. The enchantment which enveloped the arena also collapsed at this moment. The horrifying aura was like a hurricane as it attacked the surrounding crowd. Everyone could clearly sense the strong aura emitted from the enchantment. The continuous energy was almost enough to destroy the heaven and earth. There were quite a number of high-ranking cultivators who had experienced the battlefield. At this moment, they were completely stunned by this horrifying profound chi. The smoke dispersed. Gradually, a slender figure appeared. Her red robe danced, dazzling and gorgeous. Enchanting and amorous, her every move was exuding a fatal temptation. She floated peacefully in midair, holding a red feather fan that was as red as fire. It was Yiqing Luo. Was it really Yiqing Luo? She actually released such a powerful energy. The young lady who was called trash by everyone, the young lady who was spurned by countless people. But time and time again, she blossomed with her own brilliance. She wanted to show everyone how powerful she was. Looking at the collapsed arena, the rubble and wooden planks were pressing on the Intermediate Profound Class 2 students. 5 Intermediate Profound Class 2 students had long lost their fighting power and fainted. While Shangguan Liuli was lying in the rubble, a heavy wooden plank was pressing on half of her body. Her entire face was pale from the pain, sweat dripping down. The uniform on her body was already covered with blood and was tattered. She looked extremely disheveled. The crowd stared blankly at this scene. Shock, astonishment, and finally full of shock. Just one person defeated the opponent. Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator, plus 5 high-leveled cultivators. And her moves were so casual, as though she didn't use her full strength and it was just a casual battle. It was too shocking. Butler Shangguan sat in his own area, feeling like he was sitting on pins and needles. Facing the Yuchi third head's mocking gaze, as well as Zhu Wuxin's cold and emotionless gaze, the Yuchi third head's expression changed. Butler Shangguan's heart was filled with apprehension. How could this be? How did the situation suddenly turn like this? Wasn't his family's 5th miss already at the 6th grade Earth Profound realm? Even with 5 students from the Intermediate Profound Class 2, they still had no way to defeat Yiqing Luo. This was like slapping the Shangguan family in the face. Housekeeper Shangguan's face turned ashen as he clenched his fists and stood up abruptly, pointing at Yiqing Luo as he berated, "Yiqing Luo. It was just a competition organized by the academy, yet you actually dared to be so ruthless to your fellow student. This is simply inhumane." Immediately, the Shangguan family's forces followed suit, determined to seek justice from Yiqing Luo. Coincidentally, even though Three Springs sect knew that Yiqing Luo was going to take part in such an important competition, no one from the Yi family came to watch the battle. The Shangguan family was relying on the fact that Three Springs sect would not stand up for a vile spawn like Yiqing Luo, so they angrily opened their mouths to seek justice for their fifth Mississippi, inhumane. Yiqing Luo couldn't help but sneer when she heard that. Her slender brows knitted slightly as her cold gaze fell onto Butler Shangguan. Since the Shangguan family had to jump out. Chapter 1161. Yiqing Luo turned around and walked directly towards Shangguan Liuli, who was pinned down by the wooden plank. Her pink lips rose slightly, her smile was enchanting and full of sarcasm. "So, this is the human nature of the Shangguan family. Only Shangguan Liuli is allowed to kill me, but I'm not allowed to retaliate." Earlier, Shangguan Liuli's every strike, obviously attacking Yiqing Luo's vital point. Every strike was fatal and merciless. She laughed softly, her eyes were filled with ridicule. "The so-called human nature of the Shangguan family has opened my eyes. In this way, I will continue to use the human nature of the Shangguan family to carry on the human nature to the end." Housekeeper Shangguan's face sunk instantly. He didn't expect Yiqing Luo to directly implicate the Shangguan family. As the representative of the Shangguan family, Housekeeper Shangguan couldn't allow the Shangguan family's reputation to be tarnished. Immediately, he slammed the table and roared, "It's obviously you who injured our fifth miss to this extent. Still trying to quibble?" "Heh," Yiqing Luo snorted disdainfully. Her eyes swept across the various forces' representatives, the school's representatives, and smiled sweetly. "The crowd's eyes are clear. Who is right and who is wrong in the competition, the crowd is clear. The Shangguan family sent out such an ignorant person to be the representative of the Shangguan family. It was simply a disgrace to the Shangguan family. Logically, when such a thing happened, even if it was the Shangguan family, they still had to avoid the eye of the storm. Or even to directly attack Shangguan Liuli, to protect the Shangguan family's reputation. But this housekeeper Shangguan rushed out to protect Shangguan Liuli, and directly accused others. Yiqing Luo didn't know what words to use to ridicule this self-righteous, benevolent housekeeper Shangguan. That housekeeper Shangguan indeed didn't let Yiqing Luo down. After hearing Yiqing Luo's ridicule, housekeeper Shangguan directly swept a cold gaze across everyone present, his face gloomy. "Shueliang. This housekeeper wants to see, what the crowd saw was you bullying the Shangguan family's fifth miss, and even trying to kill her. It's really our fifth miss, who attacked you." These words were said beautifully. Since Yiqing Luo went on stage, it was indeed Yiqing Luo who crushed Shangguan Liuli one-sidedly. Shangguan Liuli's several ruthless attacks were perfectly avoided by Yiqing Luo and even retaliated. He hadn't succeeded even once in his attempts. However, it didn't mean that she had to take a stab from Shangguan Liuli to be considered to have been killed. The funny thing was, housekeeper Shangguan still thought that he was making a statement at the Western Continent's Power Conference. He actually wanted to use his identity as a member of the Shangguan family to threaten the onlookers. The people here were all forces from all over the Nirvana realm. A mere Shangguan clan, one of the four great clans of the Western Continent, how could they possibly put them in their eyes? Not to mention, if one were to talk about status. The person on the stage was the rightful young master of the Three Springs sect, the seventh miss of the Yi clan. After all, the Three Springs sect was one of the four major sects in the Nirvana realm, the strongest force in the West Continent. Any one of the forces present would step forward. Their status isn't lower than the Shangguan family, okay? Hearing housekeeper Shangguan's words, Yi Qing Luo almost laughed her teeth off. He was not afraid of a godlike opponent, but he was afraid of a pig-like teammate. Butler Shangguan was simply a godly assistant. There was no need for her to deliberately guide him. Butler Shangguan had attracted the hatred of all the forces. If nothing unexpected happened. At this time tomorrow, the Shangguan clan should completely become history. Yi Qing Luo smiled as she glanced at the representatives whose faces were getting darker and darker. The arc of her lips deepened. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.